And we are live. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and/or listening to ABL Live. Thank y'all for joining. You could be anywhere in the whole wide world, but you're right here with me live on the show. I know I'm late, but it's not my fault. You got to blame the white man for that. But thank y'all for joining. We got a whole lot to talk about today, a whole lot going on. We got to talk about woke ESPN, the door-to-door facts. What else we got? We got to talk about Trump's going to sue social media, Facebook, Google, and Twitter, and also their CEOs, Mark Zuckerberg, Jack Dorsey, and Sundar Pichai. We got to talk about critical race theory. Some of these union bosses say that they don't teach critical race theory in K through 12, but the unions themselves say, yes, we do teach it, and we're going to spread it all over the United States in 14,000 districts. We got to talk about the 1619 Project, writer, founder, whatever you want to call her, not getting tenure at UNC, begging for it publicly, getting it, then rejecting it to go to a black college to have the same job over there. We're talking about all those things and more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And I thank y'all again for being here. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me live on the show. Thank y'all for joining. If you enjoy the content, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. If you enjoy what you've heard thus far, just from the topics or whatever, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. If you're listening to this on your favorite audio streaming platform, whether that be Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, Apple iTunes, or whatever, go ahead and give me a 5-star rating, a thumbs up, a review, whatever you can. I'd appreciate it if you did do that for me. That'll just make my day. So we got a whole lot going on, a whole lot happening. I want to talk a lot about ESPN because I'm going to get to that, but I got to talk a lot about ESPN because all the woke stuff, this is a tale of the how wokeness goes full circle and how it damages everyone that wants to be woke. But I'll get to that, so y'all just hang tight. Can we start with, let's start with this. Let's start with Trump suing social media. Now, shout out to Trump for doing this. I'm definitely in favor of it. I think Steven Crowder has a lawsuit. I think Candace Owens is going to sue or is suing or was talking about suing some of the Facebook fact checkers, because here's what's going on in my humble opinion. This is not necessarily fact. This is just my humble opinion. Well, I'll give you what's happening as far as the censorship. I'll talk about some law, and then I'll give you my opinion. How about that? Now, what's happening is that a lot of conservative people and certain ideas are being censored on social media platforms. And the reason why it's important is because these platforms have become dominant as forms of communication. It's overtaken television. It's overtaken a newspaper. This is the dominant form of communication. So if a thing gets put out on Facebook, for example, from an official account, and it has a declarative statement, let's say from the federal government, let's say from the president or whoever, that's going to be believed. That's going to be seen as authoritative. This is reality. Okay. When certain things spread like that, it's very powerful. When information that people need to know hits the internet and it spreads, it can reach millions in a matter of seconds. Millions. Like some of these viral videos. I've heard stories about people going viral and they said that the video hit 1 million views in 30 minutes. So social media is very, very, very powerful, and certain people only want certain things to be on the platform. And what it winds up, and what that winds up looking like is a lot of conservative voices are squashed. R.I.P. Alex Jones, not literally, but figuratively, because he's not on social media anymore. He has his website, which is great. That's why I always say you guys need to go to my website, anthonyblogan.com. That is ANTHONY, the letter B, LOGAN.com. It's not quite as built up as Alex Jones' InfoWars website is, but that's where I'm trying to get to the point where regardless of what goes on, I have my thing that I can control and no one else can do anything to it beyond the federal government coming in and doing something unconstitutional, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. So Alex Jones had one of the biggest YouTube channels as far as news on the entire platform. He might have been the biggest news channel on YouTube. He's gone. Milo and Gavin, a lot of these guys are gone. Guys getting censored, guys getting videos removed, guys getting suspended. I got suspended for a week because of quote unquote medical misinformation talking about the virus. And you know what? I reached out to, that was funny, Brent. I reached out to YouTube about my strike. I'm like, hey, I submitted an appeal back on, I think that might have been June 7th. I've not heard anything back. It's been a month. Today is July 7th. What's going on? What's happening with the process? Am I going to get a response? Because once you get like the first strike, beyond the warning, and that's all different. I'll talk about the warning in a minute as well. Once you get a strike, what they do is they suspend you for a week, but you can appeal it. And you can be successful in your appeal and have your strike rescinded. Maybe that'll happen while you're still on a suspension and you have your suspension cut. Maybe. Or what'll happen is you'll serve your entire week suspension, which is what I've already done, and then they can rescind it retroactively. Or not retroactively, they can just rescind it so it won't be on your channel anymore. If they don't do anything, they just let it stay there. They don't review your appeal. It'll stay on your account for, I think, what, 3 months? Yeah, I think 3 months. So, yeah, or 4 months, because it'll expire on its own in September. But see, if you get a second strike while you still have the first strike on your channel, then the penalty is more severe because it's a 3-strike rule on YouTube. You see what I'm saying? But I digress. The whole point is, I got a strike, medical misinformation. Well, what's medical misinformation? Oh, well, you said something that goes against what the WHO says. So the WHO, are they controlling policy on YouTube? Is it the WHO? Is it the CDC? Is it the federal government in general? Who's running the show here? Every time I got a suspension or a strike or some kind of discipline on social media, regardless of whether it's been Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, anywhere, even on my website, if I have Google ads on it, they'll take certain ads off. Only time I've ever had any kind of disciplinary action against me has been something that's really hot button politically that they don't want to talk about. The virus is one thing. HCQ, that was a really big problem. And Facebook, for a while, they were acting funny about saying that the virus came from China. Remember that? You guys may or may not use Facebook, but there you couldn't even say that the virus came from a lab in China. Maybe you could say it came from China, but not from the Chinese lab. And if you were to say something like that, then your post might have been deleted. You might have been, your post might have been limited, which is pretty much where I am. You go to my Facebook page, certain things are not going to get a lot of airtime. They won't get a light of day because all my posts are suppressed. They tell me straight away. It's like, well, your page has a history of misinformation and disinformation and debunked statements. Therefore, we're going to reduce your reach. It told me that straight out. I'm not making it up. I can go to my page right now and it says it in black and white. Like I literally have read it. I can't get instant articles. I can't get the equivalent to super chats or not super chats. I can't get in-stream ads on Facebook. I got like 4 or 5 violations just because I post things that they don't agree with. But the whole thing about the virus coming from a lab, they reverse course on that like a year and some change later. It's like, okay, now it's okay to say it, but why wasn't it okay to say it for the past year and some change? You see, now the damage has been done. You want to rescind that now talking about, oops, my bad, sorry about that. But people who are on Facebook a lot, who never leave Facebook.com, they're believing whatever kind of news you're curating. And if you are a social media network, you shouldn't be curating news. That's not your role. Your role is to be a platform, right? If you guys are as old as me, you remember this website. What was that? I forget the name of the website, but you know what I'm talking about when I explain it. Photo Bucket. Remember Photo Bucket? All you would do on Photo Bucket is what? Just upload pictures. That's it. Upload pictures. Photo Bucket wasn't, necessarily removing stuff and curating certain things to get highlighted and writing articles about certain pictures. Oh, this comes from Jimmy Butler from Kansas City, Missouri. And, he's a Trump supporter and we don't like him. And his theories have been debunked by the World Health Organization and the CDC. No, they don't do that. All they do is very simply just act as a platform for you to upload your pictures to. That's it and that's all. They stay out the way. If you do something weird, something illegal or whatever, that's on you. If you're breaking the law, they'll take it down, but they're not going to be highlighting certain things above others, right? That's just not how it is. But on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google, etc., go to Twitter right now, and it'll be something trending, right? Like, let's just say it's ABL. I don't trend, but I'm just saying I don't want to use my else for an example. Let's just use me for an example. Let's just say ABL is trending, right? And then they have like a little summary. Oh, ABL is trending because he reported on debunked and false information about the 2020 election. It's like, why are you editorializing and curating and picking and choosing winners and losers? That's not your job. Now, if you want to be a publisher like a New York Times, a Washington Post, a Huffington Post, then sure, you can say whatever you want. You could say ABL is a self-hater and he's Clayton Bigsby. You can call me whatever you want within, certain limitations. You can't necessarily slander me or libel me because guess what? You are a publisher, so you are held to certain laws as a publisher. You're liable for what you post on your platform, right? That's the difference between a platform and a publisher. A platform, there's no legal obligation for them to, whatever they post, whatever's on their website, they don't post. Someone else does it. So if there's a lawsuit to be had, it wouldn't be Twitter getting sued. It wouldn't be Facebook getting sued. It'd be the person that posted it. But if you are a publisher, then you get sued. You see what I'm saying? So if you behave as a publisher, then you cannot be a platform. Therefore, you're open to lawsuits. So Twitter and Facebook and whatever are able to have so much power because they operate as a platform and they're protected by the law. Section 230 of the Communications and Decency Act. It says, if you are a platform, you're not liable for anything they posted on your website. That's just not your fault. That's whoever posted it. It's the poster's problem, not yours. They operate like that, but at the same time, behave as a publisher. It's a weird mix. And I think that a lawsuit from Trump is going to try to find a way to get to the bottom of it. It's like, are you a publisher? Are you a platform? What's going on with the selective, rule enforcement? You want to remove Trump for the January 6th thing, but at the same time, you say that the January 6th thing was pre-planned. Which one is it? How was it Trump's fault for quote unquote inciting violence when the whole thing was pre-planned? The FBI found one of these guys with a Capitol Lego set. They seized a Lego set. I'm not lying. Matter of fact, can we pull this up? Let's just do it right here. Hey, Shreebs, I'm gonna get to the juvenile thing. I am gonna get to that. I will. I promise. I'm gonna get to it. I promise. Okay. Matter of fact, here it is. All right. Let's check it out right quick. So this is on a Daily Beast, but I've seen it other places. So don't get, confused by where the location is. All right. So let's put it on the screen right quick. Here we go. So you see, riot leader had fully constructed U.S. Capitol Lego set at his home. So, and just so you know, I'm not making it up, I'm going to put the article on the screen. Federal investigators seized, so they took the Legos, right? So, I mean, what you gonna do with the Legos? You gonna play with them? Give them to your kids? Say, hey, little Johnny, play with that. While I'm over here just looking at people's pictures when they don't know I'm looking at them, allegedly. Anyway, so he's 27 years old with a toy Lego set. Where did they find it? In his basement or in his mom's basement? What's going on? Like, what's really happening? A Capitol riot leader really playing with Legos? Come on. Let's stop it. Please stop the games. I mean, it's to the point now where they're just making up stuff that don't make no sense. I'm not riot leader, is what they're calling them. had fully constructed U.S. Capitol Lego set at his home. FBI says they seized it. They took that. How are you going to bring a box of Legos to the evidence room? It'd be like, hey man, what you doing, man? Why you bringing Legos back here? Ain't no kids back here. Oh no, this came from the Capitol riot leader. Really? For real? Legos? My whole point is that they blow things out of proportion. They say all kind of crazy stuff, and they want you to believe it. That's kind of what's going on. So I done kind of forgot where I was going with that for real, but this whole thing with the censoring on social media is crazy. Platform or publisher, you got to pick one. You can't ride the fence and be like, oh, well, I want to be this or I want to be that. You got to pick one. You have to do it. All right. And thank y'all again for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. If you enjoyed what you're hearing so far, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. But yeah, that whole Capitol thing has been blown out of proportion. They're finding Legos. A lot of these guys ain't even getting locked up. A lot of these guys are federales, undercover. A lot of these guys are federale informants, like Enrique Tarrio from the Proud Boys. If you see any kind of group that the FBI labels as extremist, I guarantee you that the FBI is already in there, because ain't nobody doing no vetting really to figure out who you are and who you aren't. And the FBI, they're pretty good at infiltration. Okay, Gloria Steinem, I said last time, Gloria Steinem was in the CIA, and Gloria Steinem was one of the biggest feminists in the country, if not the world. CIA. So a lot of this stuff is just phony. And speaking about the federales and whatnot, Tucker Carlson, I have some news that's kind of breaking here from Axios. Now, I wonder who at Axios is a federale, because they seem to have all types of really insidery type of news. Anyway, so remember the whole thing about Tucker being spied on allegedly by the NSA? And then the NSA came out and said, oh, no, we do counterintelligence, we do foreign counterintelligence, and you're not the target of any kind of investigation. We're not trying to find you, all this, that, and the third. And then they put that statement out right at 8 o'clock, which is when the show starts on Fox. It's like, okay, I mean, you guys are being very petty. You put it on Twitter at 8 o'clock to time it right on time with the show. So then you got to bring it up on air. Anyway, so Tucker was like, well, you guys are spying on me because you have my emails. What's going on? Now, the news from Axios says that Tucker Carlson was trying to get an interview with Vladimir Putin at the time of the spying claim. So here's probably what happened. Tucker was probably talking to people, because they're saying he talked to people that are in the U.S., but linked to the Kremlin, I suppose. He was speaking to them and trying to get an interview. He probably learned from these people in the U.S., probably U.S. citizens, that they knew more about him than they thought he should know. He probably learned from them about the whole email kerfuffle. That's probably what happened. And the media would try to spin this as Tucker was trying to, talk to Vladimir Putin. He was a Russian puppet, all this and that and the third. Meanwhile, NBC had an interview with Putin just the other week. Just recently, there was an interview with NBC. So if NBC could talk to Vladimir Putin, then why can't Fox News? What's the difference? I mean, so if Fox News speaks to Vladimir Putin, then they're colluding with him. They're in bed with him. They're a Russian puppet. But if NBC talks to him, then that's just normal. It's regular and it's no big deal. Matter of fact, here it is right here. So this is on Sky News. They're reporting on it. But the caption says, in an exclusive interview with NBC News, Russian President Vladimir Putin answers questions on U.S. relations, Belarus, Ukraine, and Alexei Navalny. This is on June 15th, 2021. So if NBC can get an interview with him, if Sky News can report on said interview with him, then why can't Tucker Carlson over at Fox News get an interview? How is it different? It's the exact same thing. But the media will try to tell you and everybody else out there that Tucker Carlson is some kind of Russian spy or Russian double agent. He's not to be trusted, all this, that, and the third. Now, a regular normie that does not know any better may fall for it, but you guys are too smart for that. and I'm here to give you the real information. You see it right here on the TV screen. Matter of fact, you can just look it up for yourself. There's been plenty of interviews with Vladimir Putin on U.S. press. I mean, he's not necessarily persona non grata when it comes to interviews. It's just he's conveniently used as, I guess, a scapegoat for the U.S.'s problems. If there's any kind of hacking or something like that, blame Russia, blame Vladimir Putin. Don't talk about China at all and their hacking division of the military, which is dedicated to doing things just like what's been happening with the spyware. Don't speak about them. Just talk about Russia because they're white, they're Christian. It's fine. They're a good scapegoat. When you're talking about China, it's too much money over there. They're an ethnic minority. Not really, because it's more Chinese than there are Americans. That's a different story. Anyway, they're ethnic, quote unquote, minority. And that's just what it is. We can't talk about them. And we don't want to have our iPhones and whatnot get disrupted. That's pretty much what's going on. But I digress. All right. And then what else we got going on? We got a whole lot going on here. We got a whole lot happening. But yeah, shout out to Trump. Hopefully he gets that lawsuit done. And hopefully we have some kind of resolution to this whole Section 230 kerfuffle. We definitely need that for sure. That goes without question. All right. And then let's see what else we got going on. Let me see. Trump's going to sue. Oh, have you guys seen the door-to-door vaccine situation? Can I put that on the screen right quick? Let me find it. So apparently the Biden administration is going to send people door to door to get everybody vaccinated. That's the objective, to get all Americans vaccinated. I'm not really sure it's going to be the best way to go. I don't think I'll really do that. If I want the vaccine, then I'll go get it. I know where it's at. You know, I've seen enough commercials and I see all kind of billboards and whatnot all around town telling me where it is. So I don't need anyone to really inform me about that. Matter of fact, here is your man Joe Biden talking about it. And can we get it on the screen? Let's get some sound right quick. And let's let it rock.
A special focus.
Hold on. I'm not getting sound on my end. There we go. Let's do it this way.
A special focus on 5 ways to make gains in getting those of you who are unvaccinated vaccinated. Because here's the deal. We are continuing to wind down the mass vaccination sites that did so much in the spring to rapidly vaccinate those eager to get their first shot and their second shot, for that matter, if they needed a second. Now we need to go to community by community, neighborhood by neighborhood, and oftentimes door to door, literally knocking on doors, to get help to the remaining people protected from the virus.
So how you guys feel about that? You want to have the federales come door to door, neighborhood to neighborhood? And one thing that he did not say here that his press secretary, Jen Psaki, said is that it's going to be a targeted effort. It's going to be targeted, meaning they're going to go to specific places, to specific areas to try and get this done. So where are they going to start first? Probably in, like, you know, black areas. And, hey, Shreebs, I'm getting to you. They're going to try to come to black areas because they did that already. They did it out here in Tennessee. They went to, I think this is when they're trying to do COVID tests, right? So here's what happened. This is kind of, I have to give the NAACP credit here. Like, normally I would just kind of admonish the NAACP. I would be like, man, you guys are trash. But they did good here. So what happened was they were going to do COVID tests or something. It might have been the vaccine. I think it was a test. And they were going to go door to door in black areas in the hood and stuff like that with the National Guard in full uniform to do it. So when this gets out to the media and to the community, here comes NAACP saying, nope, not going to do it because you're going to intimidate people by being in full uniform because they're going to feel like they have to do it and there's no other choice. And then if they don't do it, they're going to get locked up. So, yeah, that actually happened, but it was stopped by the NAACP. And this here could be a similar situation. You're going to have the federales. Who are you going to have coming door to door? Is it going to be just nurses and whatnot and the scrubs? Is it going to be guys with clipboards? Like, what is it going to be? And also my question would be, are you going to have is there a database of those that have been vaccinated and those that have not been vaccinated? there was that came out today that said 100% of those that died in Maryland were unvaccinated. How do you know that? How do you know that? There's got to be a database in order for you to know that information. Okay, because if I get the vaccine, that should just be that. I get the vaccine, and there's no record kept on my file that you can access to say whether I have it or not. But if you have a statistic that says 100% of those that died from the virus did not have the vaccine, then obviously you know who has it and who doesn't have it. So are you going to go to specific doors that you know are unvaccinated and try to get them to get the vaccine that way? Like what's really happening? So that's not really going to be a good idea. And New Zealand, they're a little bit more aggressive with what they're talking about and how they're trying to get this point across. Let me try to find this video right here. This is going to be, I'm not sure who this guy is, but this is New Zealand. So let's go ahead and check it out right quick.
I think early next year we'll be in the phase of chasing up people who haven't come forward to get their vaccination or have missed.
Wait, hold on. Let's rewind. We're going a little bit too fast here, boss.
I think early next year we'll be in the phase of chasing up people who haven't come forward to get their vaccination or have missed their bookings and so on. So everyone will be able to get a vaccine between now and the end of the year. But of course, you know, and I want every New Zealander to come forward, but human behaviour suggests that there will be some people that we have to actually really go out and look for, and some of that may spill into next year. But our commitment is everyone will have the opportunity to get the vaccine by the end of the year. Everyone will, but I can't say that, you know, that we're not going to have some hesitant people or some people who just haven't come forward that we don't have to go out and find next year.
Go out and find? You got to dig them out. Got to go out and find them. What? And his name is Chris Hipkins. He's a Minister for Health in New Zealand. Chris Hipkins, Hipkins. So what's really going on with you, New Zealand? That's a tad bit aggressive, don't you think? It's a little bit aggressive. I don't really like that too much. I mean, rather than doing all that, tell me how great it is. Tell me about the efficacy of it. Don't do that part. Now, so that's, you know, you go from Biden talking about we're going door to door, community outreach. Then my guys like, we're going to find you. We're going to dig you out. You got that going on. And now you have the hip hop approach. And let's go ahead and find that video right quick. This is also going to be on my Twitter, twitter.com/Anthony B. Logan. Check it out if you have not done so already. And here we go. Let's put it on the screen and get some sound.
You're finna online date chat, find a mate chat, open up the okay ass, okay yeah, profile picture looking tight chat, nice chat, got your bio reading right chat, precise chat, but before you find a date chat, you gotta wait chat, gotta go vaccinate chat, get it straight chat, girl you look good, want you vax that thing up, you's a handsome young brother, want you vax that thing up, dating real life, you need to vax that thing up.
Okay, now just to give you some context right here, this is like a two-part commercial, just follow me. First, it's for a dating app called BOK. I guess it's a black dating app. That's the first thing. So he's talking about profile pictures, all this and that. He's talking about a dating app. It's also about getting your shot so you can be on a dating app and be safe. Now, the way he's talking in these lyrics, I mean, there's more than one virus, if you catch my drift, but I digress.
Freaking all night, you need to vax that thing up. Girl, you look good, want you vax that thing up. You's a handsome young brother, want you vax that thing up. Dating real life, you need to vax that thing up. Feeling freaky all night, you need to vax that thing up.
I know you can't stand it, no holding hands, chick. But when we get the shot, we gon' be romancing. Girl, you could be the queen after quarantine. We could meet up at the spot and we could do the thing. Internet date chat, I'm your mate chat. Download the app, shawty, you ain't gotta wait chat. I love it when you hold me, eggplant emoji. You could be the young hot thing, I'll be the OG.
Girl, you look good, want you
eggplant emoji. All right, so you got Juvenile, Manny Fresh from Cash Money back in the day. This song came out in 1998. Originally, the original song with Lil Wayne on it, and then at the end of it, they got Mia X, who was also on. She was on No Limit, not Cash Money.
Some dude named Scott, go get the shot, go get the shot, go get the shot. BLK says go get the shot. You wanna smash with Scott, smash with Scott. BLK says go get the shot.
So BLK says go get the shot. That's the name of the company that they are endorsing for this ad. See, that's them right there with the logo on it. Really gross and commercial, really nasty. Like, all right, it's one thing to just encourage vaccination. Then you want to put this company in it on top of it. Super nasty, juvenile. I understand a lot of you rappers are kind of hard up for money, but good night, man. I mean, come on. If you need some cash, just say that. Don't go out bad like this, man. That was super cringe. I mean, I've seen some cringe things in my day, but that right there, that was pretty nasty. Yeah, it was cool back in the day, back in, you know, when I was in high school, when that song came out. But right now, and what he did to it, you pretty much ruined it. So, yeah, everybody got paid for that because, first of all, that was on Cash Money. I know they got paid for the music. It's the same music. They didn't even rework it. Juvenile, Manny Fresh, Mia X, they all got a check. They probably only got the vaccine themselves, but going out here rapping about it. And quite frankly, people that are hesitant to get the vaccine, they're not going to be swayed by a rap song, in my humble opinion, because they have real concerns that need to be addressed. It's like, well, what about this? What about that? Address the concerns, and then you might be able to win them over. But a rap song, if you go out and get the shot because of a rap song, then your IQ is not even really above room temperature. You understand what I'm saying? You have a faulty air conditioning, room temperature IQ. That's pretty much what's going on. Baby got vax. That's hilarious. Yeah, that might be next. Baby got vax. It's so cringy, super cringy. So yeah, I'm not convinced. Hey, be okay. If you're asking me, if you want to do a little bit of in the field reporting and you know some real time feedback, I'm not convinced, sirs, ma'ams, whoever you are. It just ain't doing nothing for me. But if you enjoy what you're hearing so far, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Oh, announcement. I will be on Brandon Tatum's channel tomorrow doing a live show. We're going to be doing that show pretty much every Thursday. A lot of you guys like that show. A lot of you guys miss me being on there. A lot of you guys miss that show being consistent. I'll be on there. And we're going to try to do it every Thursday. So, again, I'll be on the Officer Tatum channel tomorrow at, what is it, like 9 or 10 Eastern time? I forget. But I'll be over there tomorrow. Y'all look for the flyer to go on my Instagram page and look for the event to be scheduled on his page. Check me out over there tomorrow. All right. And so we got to get back to it here. Oh, all right. Let's talk about ESPN being woke. Super woke ESPN. Now, this story, to me, is hilarious. You guys may have seen my video. Maybe you didn't see it. But I'm going to give you a recap. And then I'm going to get into some of the updates to tell you how trash ESPN is. And it's their own fault. The entire situation with ESPN and the anchors fighting among each other, that is the fault of ESPN. It's all them. The toxic culture, the woke culture. Let's go back a little bit. So you have two anchors, right? You have, what's her name? Rachel Nichols and Maria Taylor. Rachel Nichols is 47 years old, been at ESPN for like 20 years, right around that. She just so happens to be the daughter-in-law of Diane Sawyer, a world-famous interviewer, journalist, to interview Britney Spears, Michael Jackson, pretty much everybody, right? The who's who in Hollywood she's interviewed. Her husband is, or was, because he passed like in 2014, a guy by the name of Mike Nichols. Very well known in Hollywood. A lot of big name people spoke at his funeral. Very well known guy. Very well respected in Hollywood. His son is Max Nichols. That is Rachel's husband. Before that, her name was Alexander. Her last name was. Anyway, she's in this family. And then after she becomes Diane Sawyer's daughter-in-law, she goes to ESPN 3 years later and been there ever since. And she has quite a bit of power over at ESPN. I think even the guy, Steven Jackson, one of the on-air people that used to be an NBA player, former NBA player, he says, well, she put me on. She put a bunch of other guys on, meaning she brought these other like former NBA players to the network and gave them jobs. So if she has the power to bring you into the network, she has the power to get you fired from the network as well. So she has quite a bit of power. In my humble opinion, from what I've been able to see so far, maybe I'm wrong, Rachel Nichols is the equivalent to like how can I say, maybe even like Stephen A. Smith as far as power and importance over at ESPN, maybe even the equivalent of a Bob Iger, the former CEO of Disney. Whenever Bob Iger said something, that's pretty much what it was. Because Disney, obviously they own ABC, ESPN, everything. And by the way, Diane Sawyer was a big wig over at ABC, so you see how it goes. But I digress. So, where was I going with that? Oh, so Rachel Nichols got caught on an audio recording from back in July of 2020. This is when they had the bubble, when they were playing basketball games in one location in Orlando, Florida, because of the virus. They didn't want to be traveling and spreading the virus or potentially catching it on planes or whatever. So they didn't have much outside world contact to keep everybody safe in one place. So she was in the hotel room in the bubble recording a hit for ESPN up in Connecticut, New York, wherever they are. Now, she recorded her hit, right, but left the camera on by accident. So she gets off that call and then calls Clutch Sports, which is LeBron James's agency. Like I said in the video, he doesn't own it, but his friend from Cleveland, Rich Paul, does. She's talking to Rich Paul and also this white and/or Jewish guy by the name of Adam Mendelson. She's talking to him about trying to get an interview with LeBron and Anthony Davis. And then it becomes a complaint fest about ESPN. Oh, they have a bad track record of diversity. And the main thing she was worried about was her job. You see, what I didn't know and what I learned later is that in her contract, it states that she'll host the NBA Finals. Now, I'm not really sure why it's Rachel Nichols and not a former NBA player or just anybody else, because Rachel Nichols is one of the worst personalities on air. It was very confusing to me when I would watch ESPN, which I don't like doing because it's so weird, that the corporate culture is so weird. I hate watching it. I enjoy sports. I enjoy watching football, basketball. I like watching golf, baseball. I like sports. I'm a sports fan. It's fun to play, fun to watch. It's just a fun thing to do. It's a hobby. And I hate when I got to watch ESPN because I don't want to see this odd mix of a former NBA player. It'd be like two former NBA guys and then Rachel Nichols. A weird mix. It's like, am I watching a basketball game or HGTV? Is this Martha Stewart I'm watching right here? It's just a really weird mix. And then sometimes it won't be any former basketball players. It'd be three women that look just like Rachel Nichols. So you got three middle-aged white women talking about basketball. Why? You could find a basketball player somewhere that can talk about basketball. Why must it be you guys? You guys are about 800 pounds collectively talking about basketball. You're not athletes. You have no line to it other than being a journalist writing articles. Why can't I get a basketball player talking about basketball or a coach or something? But anyway, I was always confused why she was in the mix at all. But now I understand. It's the power she has from being Diane Sawyer's daughter-in-law, the contract she has. In the contract, it says that she must host the NBA Finals, allegedly. But that was given last year to Maria Taylor, an up-and-coming black woman, 34 years old, younger. Some are going to say she's hotter, 6'2", athlete, played high school basketball, volleyball, D1 athlete, played volleyball. Okay, give it to her. And then they're doing the whole Black Lives Matter thing. Perfect fit. Did she get there because she's black? Maybe. But why would that be an assumption from somebody so woke like Rachel Nichols? Because let's be straight here. Even if Maria Taylor was given that job because she's black instead of Rachel Nichols, that is the exact thing that Rachel Nichols would advocate for. Black Lives Matter, hands up, don't shoot, believe all women, me too. That's her. But now all of a sudden it's not. Now all of a sudden it's not. Oh, because it affects you now, we're not going to do that anymore. But any other time you'd be for it. You see, you reap what you sow. If you want to advocate for the woke culture, if you want to participate in the woke culture, don't get mad when the woke culture becomes a snake and it bites you square in your hind parts. That's your fault, Rachel Nichols. Maria Taylor, too. Maria Taylor ain't no different. Maria Taylor is a Black Lives Matter, hands up, don't shoot, I'm woke, I'm a feminist. She's all those things too. And you got to understand, Maria Taylor, that the people that you think are on your side, your allies, are not really. They do that for the camera. They do that just for this toxic environment at ESPN that says it believes in all these things, but it doesn't at the end of the day. When it comes to money, that's not even the important anymore. That goes out of the window when money becomes involved. So now here we are. The audio comes out. Nichols is like, look, I'm not trying to have my job get taken away. And I know she's black or whatever. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what she's saying. Don't take my job because you want to try to reach a diversity goal with this person, Maria Taylor. She says that she knows what it's like because she's a woman. She comes from that side of it. But do not take it from me. Take it from somewhere else. Don't take what's mine. Take it from somebody else, not me. Basically, what she's saying is it's okay if you want to engage in diversity, but don't take what I have away from me. Take it from Jalen Rose, Kendrick Perkins, one of these guys. Take it from me. And what I saw that was really crazy is when she apologized after the audio got out. When she apologized, she was on there with her black coworkers. I think it was Kendrick Perkins, and I think it might have been Jay Williams or somebody. I forget who it was, but I know Perk was there, and it might have been RJ, Richard Jefferson. And they're like having to defend her. It's like, look, if you did something, you stand on it by yourself. Don't bring other guys in there. And I'm sure that was ESPN doing that, saying, okay, damage control, we got a lot of money riding on her. We got a big contract. We don't want to have to fire her. So she'll apologize, go out there and do that. And you guys, you two black guys, go out there and defend her. Totally embarrassing. And Perk came out and said that he was put in a bad situation. And the reason why he did that is because he didn't want to lose his job at ESPN. ESPN is a super woke place, but wokeness always devolves into chaos. And the final product you get on the court, the final product you see on television, it gives you this weird woke vibe that nobody likes. That's why you have ratings going down the toilet at ESPN, because of this woke culture that you see on television and nobody likes it. You have no chemistry going on. It's weird mixes. You get all kind of political things being shoved in your face. Nobody wants that. This is why Fox Sports 1 became more attractive up until even the woke virus hit them. It's not as bad over there, but it's still there. Skip Bayless and then Sharp, they become woke as well. This is why people go to YouTube, and regular normies like me that have no production squad, no big budget behind me, because we're not engaging in the woke, weird corporate culture, HR departments and crap like that. We're just us. There's no superior here. I say whatever I want to say. If I get suspended, that's fine. I got my website. I got this over there, that over there. I'm always going to be here. Unlike ESPN, where if you don't defend your coworker for doing something that she did that's not even involving you, you might get fired. How does it make any sense? Why would I be in jeopardy of being fired for not defending a thing that somebody else did that doesn't involve me? That's not my business. It's their business. And really, the actual beef is between between Rachel Nichols and ESPN for violating the contract, allegedly. Maria Taylor had nothing to do with it. She just given the job. So now, fast forward, I think Rachel Nichols is going to host the finals this year. But since the audio came out, they can't have that because now there's conflict within ESPN. So then they put another black woman in her place. I forget her name. You guys know what I'm talking about. Malika Andrews is her name. They put Malika Andrews in there to host the finals. And that's that. So now you know it's about somebody being black being placed there. But again, this is ESPN. People that are complaining about it, they work at ESPN, support this kind of culture. But this is how it goes, man. It's just like communism, right? A lot of these people on the left say they like communism. They want to be communist. They don't like capitalism. But then when they get communism, when it actually hits them and they're hungry and, their stomach growling for 3 days, you know, they about to die of hunger or starvation. They going in the trash can trying to eat somebody's pet cat. It's like, all right, well, look, you wanted it. You were out there protesting, talking about Black Lives Matter, ACAB, communism now, communism forever, capitalism sucks. You said that, right? You were on your iPhone in a Starbucks talking about how bad capitalism is. Now you got communism and you trying to find a fresh rat to cook up on the barbecue and eat because you're so hungry. That's your fault. You asked for it. Now you got it. So I don't feel sorry for Rachel Nichols, Maria Taylor, or anybody over at ESPN, because if you work there, you know what you're dealing with already from the very beginning. It's been like that for a very long time. That network sucks totally. ESPN, ABC, Disney, all trash. All trash. Period. That's what it is. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah. Hey, it's a lot of boredom happening, a lot of weird stuff happening right now in America. But one thing I hate is the weird corporate structure. But you know what? For me, it works because people are not watching television as much, and they come into me. They come into a lot of my friends. They come into alternative media in general. It doesn't matter if it's me or someone else. They come into alternative media. So that's going to help all of us grow and get beyond the programming and the control messaging. We don't want that anymore. We want real information from real people. And that's not ESPN, not at all. It used to be good back in the day when they had Stuart Scott, and before your man lost his mind, what's his name? Keith Olbermann, back when he was good back in the day. But ever since some years ago, probably even before Trump, I think maybe when they got acquired by Disney, that's when things start to just go totally downhill. Maybe they had issues before, but in recent times, they've really gone just down, down, down. All right. But, oh, yeah, for my NBA predictions, if you guys watch sports, if you guys watch the NBA, I'm a Bucks fan, been a Bucks fan since I've been a little kid. So, well, not a little kid, like when I was in high school, when they had Ray Allen, Sam Cassell, Glenn Robinson, Big Dog, Tim Thomas, all these guys doing a John Cena hitting threes on the Lakers. So I'm a fan from those days. I got the Bucks winning. I think that if Giannis is still hurt with his knee, because I saw him out there playing, he wasn't 100%. If his knee is okay, he could play. I think they have a good chance. But Chris Paul playing really well, Booker playing pretty well, it's going to be hard. But I like my team, the Bucks. All right. But I digress. We got a few more topics on deck. I was on 9 o'clock already. All right. Let me see. Oh, now this is funny. Now, critical race theory. I'll speak on that briefly. I have a video I want to show you guys. I gotta show you this. I gotta show you guys this video. If you talk about critical race theory, in certain forms, people will say that it doesn't exist. It's only taught in law school. You're parroting the Fox News talking point. You're just, what they say, you're gaslighting, you're fear mongering, all these little buzzwords, right? That's what they'll say. But I'm hearing different things from people that are on the ground, and it's not really matching up. It's kind of strange the way the whole thing's playing out. Matter of fact, let me find the clip I have. Let me get to it for just one moment. And so like I said, some say that CRT is not a real thing. It's only being taught in law school, not anywhere else. But that's not necessarily true. So here is the AFT president, Randy Weingarten. Now, AFT, is that our teachers union? Let me find it out right quick. So AFT, that's the American Federation of Teachers. All right. So that's a union right there. They got quite a few people. Hold on. Okay, so this is the second largest union in America behind the NEA. And that's important. We'll get to that in a minute. So they're a big union. And the president came out and said this. Let's put it on the screen right quick. Let's check it out.
Critical race theory is not taught in elementary schools or middle schools or high schools.
One more time for those who didn't hear it. You might not have been paying attention. You might have been playing Call of Duty or whatever. let's go back and repeat it so you hear what she said, and so you're not mishearing what she said.
Critical race theory is not taught in elementary schools or middle schools or high schools.
Okay, so CRT is not taught in elementary schools, middle schools, or high schools. Said it right there. AFT President Randy Weingarten, right? Now, how do you explain this? This is an article from Reason. Is critical race theory taught in K through 12 schools? The NEA, remember, the AFT, second largest union, the NEA, first largest union. The NEA says yes, and that it should be. Not only that, I did a video about this where they're going to push to teach it more in 14,000 school districts in all 50 states. So is it being taught or not? We're getting mixed messages. Obviously, it is being taught. Matter of fact, here's evidence of CRT or a version of it being taught. Now, some are going to say it's real specific, all this, that, and the third. Well, at this point, it can be used as a catch-all term. If your child is being taught that since they're a black person, they can't do certain things because of the color of their skin, and white people have it better than them, and white people are superior, that is critical race theory. Call it whatever kind of little subcategory you want, but it doesn't matter. Now, here's an example of just wokeness in schools that if you challenge, it'll probably go right back to critical race theory being taught as a fact. Let's check it out. And people say, you know, you shouldn't want to have cameras in the classrooms. Well, you might want to have cameras in the classrooms, and you might want to bust in on the class your kids are in to see what's happening if they're going to public school. So here's to set it up right quick. If you're not watching on video, this is some kind of Pride Day, and they're drawing things on the dry erase board with colored markers and stuff like that to represent what pride is to them. LGBT stuff. And it's like a high school, middle school. These kids are not too old, but not too young at the same time.
Young people in my class are teaching us about Pride Month. So we've got a lot of art up here dedicated to Pride Month starting here in June. And we have a calendar telling us about everything that's happening each day. So
this calendar, if you can't see it, I'm seeing all kind of stuff. Trans, female to male, like they got it's a day, and it's a weird calendar. But I guess they got certain little things. I don't know what's going on. I can't really, all these little weird things happening. But anyway, it's like a graph type calendar. But then they have things like trans, female to male, demi boy, agender, gay, gray, Gray, asexual, gender fluid, androgynous. Is that what it says? Andro giving. I don't even know what that means. Making up stuff. Bisexual, asexual. I'm talking about bisexual and asexual in school. Why? With kids? For what? Why they gotta know about that? Polyamorous. Why are we talking about that? Why are we talking about having multiple partners? What's that got to do with like education? If you're talking about the anatomy and the functions of it, what does that got to do with polyamory? That's not a thing that should be taught to children, should it? But here we are.
Exciting. It's Vroom Vroom Art. It's been that for a while. Vroom Vroom Art. Orchid's Paw with his.
So I don't know what's going on here. If you see these drawings, it's to the point now where, you know, I know what's going on a little bit in the streets, in the proverbial street, so to speak, because I read all day, I watch videos all day. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I'm learning new things every day, but I'm seeing things right here that I have no idea what they mean. So if I don't know, I know most of you guys don't know either, because you guys do not have time like I have to dig into it. So how would you know? So this kind of stuff right now is being taught in classrooms. This is why critical race theory and all the woke education is a problem. because of things like this going on right under our noses. And you wouldn't know any better unless you're actually in there seeing what's going on. So, yeah, that's a whole alphabet. It's crazy. It's totally crazy, but that's what's happening right now in K through 12. And I'm not really sure what grade that is. It didn't say what grade that was. But yeah, these kids don't look to be that old. I'm thinking it could be middle school or like early, like 9th grade, something like that. That's probably what's going on. All right. Now, do I have any more to show you guys? I think I had something else. I'm going to try to find it right quick. But thank y'all for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. If you enjoyed what you heard so far, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Also, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Commercial break right quick. If you enjoy the flags that are behind me, these custom-made in America wooden flags, go to the link in the description box specifically so I can go ahead and get that affiliate so they know that I'm sending you. And that's going to be bhedesigns.com/ABL. I'll put that right here in the box. Also, if you enjoy good soaps, good quality handmade, and also in America soaps, not none of this, fake Wally World stuff, some real good soaps that everybody loves, you got to go to Mr1920.com. Mr1920.com. A link for that will be in the box. I'll put it right here as well so you guys check it out. Support the link, support me. It help out a whole lot. And also, if you're looking for some of the best news sources, aside from my website, aside from my YouTube and social media, go to patriotpost.us. Okay, everybody I mentioned, I talk to, we talk about what's going on in our beliefs. We're all on the same page. Everybody's conservative. Everybody's pro-America. That's what it's all about. I get people that want to give me ads talking about cell phone games that I don't play, that I will never play. I get a lot of Chinese stuff that comes my way, a lot of fake Chinese stuff. I don't do it. You got to be on the same page with me. I got to be able to talk to, and we got to be able to make stuff happen. Also, of course, my own website, I almost forgot, ablmerch.com. You got these hats. You got the USA hats right there. You see this one? It's kind of weird because it's reversed. But there you go right there. The USA hat. We got all of that on ablmerch.com. Check it out. And super chats on that. I'm going to get to those in just one moment. Y'all just hang tight. Let me see. I'm going to show you guys one more video if I can find it. But I think I've pretty much shown everything. Oh, the 1619 project. Nah, I ain't going to talk about that. The 1619 project lady. As a matter of fact, I'll speak on that briefly. Now, the 1619 project lady, Nicole Hannah-Jones, who is black and white, by the way, biracial. But anyway, Nicole Hannah-Jones made a whole big stink about not getting offered tenure at North Carolina, UNC North Carolina, Chapel Hill. She was then given tenure after this whole big media fallout. Lawyers got involved. Ta-Nehisi Coates got involved. So she was then offered tenure like 2 months later or something like that. And then she declined it and went to a black college instead, Howard University in D.C. It's like, why didn't you do that from the beginning? You went to UNC for undergrad, for graduate, and then you worked there as a night chair. So if you weren't granted tenure, she didn't get fired from the school. She did not get granted tenure. It's like, all right, if you don't like how you're being treated, if everyone else was given tenure before, why not just leave and go somewhere else? Why make this whole big public campaign to try and get tenure and then go to a black college? You could have done that from the very beginning. Why did you go to UNC for your undergrad, grad, and work there? Why not go to Howard, Spelman, or somewhere like that and just do that? Is it because UNC is a better school than Howard? It is. That's a fact. But just say that. Just say you're not good enough for UNC to get tenure, really and truly, for your merit. She got tenure because of the media pressure, not because she actually deserves it. But just say, I'm not good enough for UNC. I got to go to Howard, which is a lesser school. It's not on a level of UNC. Personally, I'm not a fan of college, so I have no dog in the fight. I'm just looking at it from a realistic point of view. I'm not going to pay a house note mortgage to go to college and have that debt on my back all my life. I mean, if I want to be a doctor or something like that, it makes sense. But if I want to be a normie just working, it makes no sense. But I digress. The whole point is, from a factual point of view, UNC is better than Howard. That's why she was at UNC, not Howard. Howard was a second choice, a black college. And it's funny because Howard is where Felicia Rashad is the dean of arts or something like that. Felicia Rashad played Claire Huxtable on The Cosby Show. And when Bill Cosby got out of jail, she tweeted that finally justice has been served. She was supporting Bill Cosby, right? So when this happened, Howard was like, nope, you can't do that. Apologize right now. So it was this whole big written apology and Twitter apology. They drug her through the mud to get that apology up out of her at a black school, no less. But there's no problem with that. They can do that to Felicia Rashad and it's fine. But if you're able to get a job over there and you're at a black college, you're woke, all this, that, and the third. Oh, okay. Like, there can't be any kind of quote unquote injustice over at a black school. It's weird. You know, the woke culture is so weird, so political, so transparently dumb and full of holes. And it's just not a good thing to engage in. That's part of the reason why I dislike the woke culture so much. Because it's not even genuine. It's one thing if you actually believe in this stuff, right? But a lot of it is just performative. You're just trying to get woke points. It's like you're always cosplaying, never really being yourself. It's so political, so weird. I can't do that. You know, woke culture, in my opinion, is an extension of corporate culture that people do in their real life. And I don't see how anybody does that every day and keeps the facade up. But I'll move on. Super chats on that. And thank y'all for being here yet again. The number to call is 434-658-1220. I'll get to that in just a moment, so y'all hang tight. Super chats first, and then we get to the calls. And I saw some of these already, and I will address them, but I just saved them. I saved talking about them until right now when I read them in real time. But I have seen some of these already because, you know, some of you guys were in the chat before it started sending stuff. I'm always watching what's going on, always. All right, thank you to let me go back to the beginning so I'll make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, shout out to Hydrip who says, what do you think about Joe Rogan's guest that claims black people have an inherent gene that makes them violent? Okay, now I saw this. First of all, this is an old clip. I could tell right away. Well, I read that it was old, but I could tell it's old because of the background. You know, Joe Rogan's been in this, when he went to Texas, his background changed. Can I find that clip right quick? Oh, here it is. His background changed, number one, and then number two, I read that it was old. And you can't find this clip anywhere on Joe Rogan's on the Spotify or anywhere else because he removed it. Probably because he doesn't support what was being said here. But I'll put it on the screen right quick. This is on World Star Hip Hop. Yeah, I got to go to the gutter to get some of these clips. I do it for y'all, just for y'all. So let's put it on the screen right quick. Hold on, I'm sorry. Hold on, let me get some sound.
There's this whole debate about the MAOA gene, which is like this gene that black Africans have, like much. It's like a proclivity to violence that they have.
MAOA gene.
Yeah. I recommend people Google it and do their own research. It's like a big debate about whether or not. But basically, like what it is it's, you know, if you think about like, you know, kind of white European, Asian ancestors as we kind of moved out of Africa, like aggression and violence was kind of less necessary because we were like farmers and stuff.
But right? God, is that really?
So that's what he said. Now, they didn't play the whole clip. I'm not sure if Joe Rogan like pushed back. He was like, is it really true? But I'm not really sure what was said behind that. That's a clip right there. Like I said, it's all you could tell by the background. You know, the bed sheets and stuff in the back. That pretty much gives it away that it's an old clip. But anyway, I did my Googles like the guy suggested. And what he didn't say is how prevalent this gene is in other races. It's like 58% of blacks allegedly have it, blacks and or Africans, which is different. If you're talking about black Americans, we're not the same as Africans. You know, comparing African Americans to Africans is almost like comparing Mexicans to Spanish people. Like in Spain, it's not the same. Because at best, you're probably going to have most African Americans having 80% African DNA at best. I've seen black folks in America that have 60% white DNA. So that's not the same as an African with 100%. You see what I'm saying? But anyway, 58% of blacks have the gene, but 58% of Chinese had the gene too. Matter of fact, it might have been more Chinese that had it than blacks. So if you're talking about being prone to violence or whatever, that's going to explain the homicide rates and things like that. Well, why doesn't it affect the Chinese? And why are the Asians the highest income group in America, even beyond whites? See, it doesn't make any sense. But that's what I did what he said. I did my Googles, I did my research, and I saw that 58% of blacks have it, 58 or 61% of Chinese, ethnic Han Chinese, mainland China, also Taiwan, they got it. 33% of whites, and I forget, I think Hispanics are like right around the same as whites. But if Chinese have it more than blacks, then how does it explain the violence? It doesn't. So he's just wrong. But I'll move on. I will move on. Let me go back to where I was. Shout out to Apple, who says, "How's my 4th of July ABL? What did I eat? Had a little bit of everything, man. Had some chicken wings, hamburgers, hot dogs, a little bit of everything. It was good. Saw fireworks on Thursday. Then I saw some on the 4th out here where I live, and had a pretty good overall weekend. It was cool. But for me, you know, it ain't no days off. All right. Now, hold on. Is somebody spamming the chat? I thought somebody spamming the chat. Did somebody say something about Hunter Avalon? I don't care about Hunter Avalon. If that's what was being spammed, yeah, I'm not going to. Why would somebody spam that I should debate somebody thinking that it'll work? That right there lets me know that I don't want to do it, because if you got people like that are trying to get me to debate somebody, then why would I want to be involved in a toxic environment like that? And what are we really going to debate? Are we going to debate how he's calling me names and I was like real nice to him when I met him a few years ago? He ain't talk about that part. It's so dumb. That's what I'm talking about. This woke culture, and people are so weird. It's like I meet you and you're so nice, all on my face, smiling. I'm tying your tie for you, giving you a little pat on the back, like a little nephew, right? That's how I'm treating you. But you want to attack me, call me all kind of names, and then be like, debate me right now. I don't get it. It's weird. People are weird. Not y'all. You guys are perfect, but some people are weird. Thank you to Charles Turner Jr., who says, "Oh, Hunter, man, you right here in the chat. Hey, is that you or your manager? Because I know that your manager runs your Twitter, and your manager messaged me on Twitter. So is that you or your manager? What's going on?" But Hunter, when we were in El Paso, talk about that part, how you were like, "Hey, man, I got that tie. Can you tie it for me?" "I got you, man. No problem. Tied your tie for you. You look real nice in your video. So why you got to attack me talking about, I mean, the echo chamber, all this, that, and the third? Why you got to do all that?" I don't get it, man. Like, I'm not. But see, if you got fans like that, if they following you and you here, I already know what's going on. I don't want no parts of that. But I digress. I'm gonna get back to my show. And thank you to Apple, who says, "Shout out to all the NSA interns monitoring ABL." Hey, shout out to all the NSA interns. Thank y'all for watching. Hopefully you're enjoying the show. Shout out to the NSA interns, the FBI interns, CIA, all you guys. If you got field agents watching, hey, man, salute to y'all. Hey, Thank you for your service, all that good stuff. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've not had any kind of problems from you guys. Let's keep it that way. How about that? I have fans spamming him as well. No, I don't. Ain't nobody spamming that fool. Let's get back to it. Let me see. Where am I at? Thank you to Chevy for your donation. Thank you to Leo Mazzina, who says, what happened to the R's in school? The R's? I'm not sure what you mean. Republicans? I'm not sure what you mean. Thank you to Ian Kenny, who says, did you see the song video from the San Francisco gay choir that Not the Bee shared? The song was about them coming for our kids. I did see that. Matter of fact, I think I have it. Let me put it on the screen. Now, is this real? I think it is. Wait a minute. Is this real? I'm going to play it, but I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know if it's real, but I believe it is. I think I've seen these guys before. I think these are the same guys from that Vaccinate video. Remember that? Vaccinate? These appear to be the same guys. So let's check it out. And get ready to cringe. Be ready.
Then we'll turn to you, giving up the fear inside. It's freeing like you never knew. Go and see San Francisco. Go and turn up that disco. You'll forget you were ever upset. We'll convert your children and make an ally of you yet. We'll make an ally of you yet.
Look, check it out. Check it out. If somebody's gay, then that's their business. I'm fine. But I have questions here. You heard what's being said. We'll convert your children. So are you born that way or nah? Let's figure out what's going on. If you can convert someone, then that means they can choose. So are you born like that or what? What's going on? I was told that if you're trans or whatever, you can't control it. You're just born this way, all this and that. But now they're going to convert you. And how will adult males convert kids? How's that going to happen? Huh? So, yeah. Super cringe. But this is what we talk about a lot. I know people that are gay and they don't talk like that. If you didn't know them and talk to them, you wouldn't even know they were gay. They're not trying to push it on nobody. But some people are trying to push it on people. And that is a problem. Now, I think what somebody said, that was San Francisco choir. Hold on. Let me try to find it right quick. Because I know it was somewhere. Somebody had it on their page. So this is the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus. And I'm just playing the video that I saw. So if you're living in San Fran, you're living in, like, this is what I'm talking about when I say certain states are kind of gone. When I say, hey, man, it's time to escape. If you got that going on, it's all right to play it and it's no problem. It's time to go ahead and leave. You're in the wrong place. If you're living right there and that's in your backyard, I wouldn't want to have my kids out there. I wouldn't have no kids in a place like that. All right. Again, that was San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus, but I will digress, move right along. Let's see. I'm getting way sidetracked with all the super chats. Okay, thank you to Ian, who says the video can't be viewed anymore because the uploader made it private, but I'm sure you can find it somewhere out there. Oh, you know I find it all the time. Thank you to John D, who says, shout out to the way Trump said Sunday Pincher. Sunday Picher. Hilarious. Talk about Sunday Pichar. Let's get back to it. Thank you to Tom, who says, one of the coolest guys I watch on the YouTubes, keep being you, ABL, will do, can be nobody else. Thank you to Greatness81, who says, why hasn't Eric Adams canceled been canceled by big tech when he challenged the mayoral race in New York? Hey, you know what? That's a great question. Maybe it's the same reason why Stacey Abrams has not been canceled, although she challenged her race. Oh, it was stolen from me. Let's count the votes, every single vote, all this and that and the third. They could do whatever they want on the left, but when you're on the right, it's a bad thing. They get praised for doing it on their side. People still say Stacey Abrams won. She's the right governor of Georgia. Brian Kemp cheated, all this and that. But when Trump says it or even alludes to it, then he gets banned off the YouTubes and everywhere else permanently. Funny how that works. This is why Trump's going to be suing these major social media networks, ain't it? But we'll move on. Thank you to Apple, who says, ABL, do you get stopped in stores? What people say? I get stopped sometimes because I'm kind of tall. So people recognize me, or I get somebody that kind of looks, but they're kind of afraid to approach because I can it depends on how I'm looking. I might be kind of stone faced, but generally I'm cool. I'm a nice guy. You come up to me, it's fine. It's like, hey, you have a YouTube channel? I know you from somewhere, don't I? You look familiar. I get that a lot. It's kind of like, oh, they as they get closer to me, they recognize it as me. But a lot of times they're shocked that I'm right there because they think I live somewhere else, but I don't. I'm right here. Thank you to John D, who says, "Let go my egos." Apple says, ABO, you got fans who are in government, what they say? I can't say that. I don't really know. I'll put it to you like that. Thank you to Skyrocket, who says, God bless you, ABL. Thank you. Appreciate you for that. Thank you to Maurice Stark for your emoji donation. Thank you to Ian Kinney, who says, I don't answer the door to people who don't inform me via call or text they're coming over. I definitely won't answer for big government. There you go. Right idea. Thank you to Laura Catherine, who says, I knew March 13th, 2020, COVID was opening the window to let in tyranny. It didn't smell right from day one. They're going to milk this thing as long as they can. Exactly. It's a tragedy. Can't let it go to waste, right? Thank you to Cole Haterade, who says, my coworker's husband got vaxxed. After one shot, he's now prone to getting dehydrated, leading to strokes. I'm not subjecting myself to that. Exactly. I'm just cool on that. Thank you to Miles, who says, talk to Hunter. No, thank you. Cat D says, thank you for the super chat. Thank you to Ian, who says, I can never listen to Juvie the same ever again. He also says, did you see the interview Judge Joe Brown did with World Star Hip Hop? He went in on Biden for being racist and Harris for things not mentionable here. I've not seen that with World Star. I've not seen that. I've seen quite a few Judge Joe Brown interviews, though. Shout out to Judge Joe Brown. Thank you to Laura Catherine, who says, thanks for breaking it down for us, ABL. Hey, no problem. Thank you for being here and your support. Shout out to Elizabeth C. for your donation. I appreciate it. Thank you to Roy Morgan, who says, you're a true friend that speaks for a lot of us. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Thank you to Divines Boanero, who says, our free speech includes free choice. Entertainers, celebrities, Reed agreed to the small print getaway. I don't know what's going on there, but thank you for that. Ball versus Windshield says, no reason not to have cameras in school. None. It protects our children and teachers from lawsuits. I've been advocating for cameras for years. Yeah, because students may be abused sometimes or shown things they shouldn't be shown. I saw an article today that alleges a teacher was saying the kids cannot tell anybody about what's happening in the class. Matter of fact, can I find that right quick? Hold on. Let's pull it up right quick. We'll get to the calls in a minute. Y'all just hang tight. Let me see. I had it somewhere. But yeah, that was a really crazy thing to say. Talking about keep this class secret. It's like keeping that class secret. Why would I do that? So if you go home and your mom was like, how was your day? You'd be like, I can't tell you. Totally nuts. But yeah, I can't find that one. But if I could find that, I'll put it on the screen during the show. But yeah, definitely cameras would be a good thing because also teachers could be accused of doing something that they did not do. And once you see the videotape, it vindicates them. Same thing with police-worn body cameras, body-worn police cameras. Somebody can say that the officer did X, Y, and Z to them, make up a whole big story. But once the videotape comes out from the body cam, the story goes poof and lawsuits go away, false allegations go away, and it's a wrap. Thank it to William Pollard, who says, crazy chick, Sheena, fake communities, precisely. Most Aboriginal activists in Australia are about as Aboriginal as the White Cliffs of Dover. Hilarious. Hilarious. Let me see. Thank it to William Pollard, who says, did you save 16 cents for 4th of July feed? I sure didn't save any kind of food on 4th of July. I sure didn't. Thank it to Trey for your thumbs up donation. Thank it to Trey, who also says LGBTQ, bunch of other letters. Thank it to $3 bill. Thank it to Raider76, who says, spying on Americans makes y'all traitors and defectors of the Union and the Constitution clowns for God and country. U.S. Thank you for that. And thank you to Chevy again for your donation. Most certainly appreciate you, boss. All righty. We got to get to the calls here. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Let's go ahead and get into it. If you want to get in through video, there's an email for that in the description box. If you're trying to call in and it's not going through, you're having a hard time, just keep trying. It will work eventually. Just hang tight, hang tough. You'll be able to get through one of these days. One of these days. All right, I think I got everything set up the way I went. Exactly. Changing the air says, I'm a teacher in Canada. I would feel uncomfortable if there was a camera like Big Brother. But my students all have phones and some with video, something went down. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if they got phones already, what's to prevent them from recording throughout the entire class? So why not have a camera that's just for everybody's safety? It's like the same thing it's the same thing as a camera phone, ain't it? It's more reliable.
All right, I think I get everything.
Buddy, you on the line? I'm speaking to 267.
Hey, ABL.
What's happening?
Can you repeat that? Sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
I said, what's happening?
Oh, nothing much, man. So I got a question. So, with the black community, you normally see Democrats. Like, I live in Philadelphia, and with the black community, especially in places like Philadelphia, Chicago, New York, you see a gun violence problem. And it's funny how the Democrats, they talk about how guns are a problem. They don't really address personal agency at all. They don't treat guns as if they're a tool. Like, if somebody picks up a hammer, it's not the hammer killing somebody. It's the person with the hammer. So they talk about guns as if they're this bad thing, when they also talk about how the police they don't use this word, but they paint the police to be tyrannical, but they don't tell black people that they should arm themselves against tyranny. They just basically tell black people that they're victims and that the police are villains, but they don't ever address how they don't address the police as if they're tyrannical, like how the Gestapo was, and the fact that the Jews didn't have weapons to defend themselves because Hitler took them from them.
Yeah, they don't get down to reality because these are real points you're making, but they don't get down to that because there's an agenda. There's this whole thing about the gun being the problem, and if there was no more guns, then the problems would go away. It's just not reality. All that would happen is the people would have no way to defend themselves against a state that got out of control, and also from the criminals, because the criminals will have whatever they want. They'll roll in gangs, they'll have all their guns and other types of weapons. The gun is the great equalizer. You got to have it. If it's legal, of course. Everything's above board. You buying it right. And, yeah, it's a great equalizer to defend yourself, to defend your family. But they don't talk about it that way because their view of the world is messed up from the very beginning. That's the actual problem, in my humble opinion.
Mm-hmm. And another thing I wanted to ask you about, why is it that, well, particularly for me, I'm black as well as you are. So why is it that, I just graduated high school about 2 years ago, and throughout all of my education, we never talked about the founding fathers, specifically in the Philadelphia School District. We never talked about the founding fathers no sort. Well, we did talk about communism, but we kind of glossed over it. It was never like people in history classes. They never explained how these tyrannical governments came to be, like the CCP, Nazi Germany, stuff like that. Joseph Stalin. They never talked about that. They only basically focused on Hitler and the Nazis and the bad stuff they did. They don't talk about how they actually became the bad thing that they were.
Oh, of course not. They don't want to do that because, again, it's all about the narrative. And it's I think a lot of them have not really been exposed to the reality of the world. They only know the world through the lens of what they've been taught in academia. And then a lot of them have been brainwashed themselves. They go to these colleges and they're being taught all this crap as if it's reality. And then they go out here and teach it. A lot of these teachers, it's weird because what I've seen or heard from talking to people all over the country is that a lot of times, like if you're in some of these inner city schools, you don't have teachers that are from the inner city. They come from other places, small towns, or, you know, Pleasantville. And then they go to the inner city on some kind of mission to be a savior. And they think what their solutions are will work, but it does not work. So, you know, when I was a kid, I had people that came from my community that were my teachers a lot of times, and they were able to relate to me better. So, and then also it wasn't this whole culture of wokeness going on like it is now. So I think that's kind of the part of it. People don't know what's going on. They think they do from their classrooms, but they never had any kind of actual experience with it.
Yeah. And then one more thing before I go. So I just don't understand why, you know, these teachers, they come in, they teach the people like inner city kids like me, but they basically make it seem like the main goal is to get good grades and go to school. They don't talk about how not everyone can go to school. Not everyone will succeed if they go to school. They don't tell you that certain jobs are good paying jobs and certain jobs aren't worth going to school for. They don't talk about that. They just say, go to school for your passion instead of going to school for what actually makes sense. They don't talk about investing or budgeting, stuff like that. Well, that's stuff that I think parents can teach their kids, but at the same time, you know, some kids don't get taught that at home. So instead of just talking about school, I think they should just also talk about other stuff.
That's right, man.
Reality.
Right on. Well, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Have a good night.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Great call. Yeah, they're not really teaching a full, you know, if I could be the king just for like a year or two to get everything back on track and to tighten stuff up. If I could just rule by fiat, no Congress, no nothing, no checks, no balances, I could just get stuff done. I would overhaul the K through 12 education system because a lot of these kids are growing up without the ability to read or write. They're graduating and can't read. Did I tell you guys a story? One of you guys sent me it was a comment on a video one of you guys had written. And the comment said something like, I work at a community college, and a girl came to the college to, you know, do the test to see where she placed. She just graduated high school. You know, she's like, okay, now I'm going to go to community college, take some classes. Where am I going to rank in this class? Now, she took the test, and the test came back that she needed all remedial courses, everything. Basically, the test said she couldn't even read, but she was a valedictorian at her high school. The valedictorian can't even read. So if that's going on, obviously something's not working. I would have classes that focus on other things that are beyond just simple academics, simple reading, writing. I would focus on some things you can do, some hard skills you can have that you can use in your life. Because, I mean, let's look, like, hear me out. If you got a kid, right, it's high school, he is 14 years old and can't read, it's going to be hard to get him back on track. I'm not saying it's impossible, but statistics show if you make it to the 3rd grade and you're behind or you just can't read, you're doomed. It's a wrap. Again, you might be able to turn it back around. The real Rick Ross, the drug dealer, went to jail and learned how to read while he was in the penitentiary. Couldn't read before that at all. He was a self-learned reader when he got to the penitentiary. Now, the problem is most guys are not going to have the time to be in the penitentiary doing nothing, getting paid for by the state, but to learn how to read, right? So in the meantime, in between time, when you out here in the world and you need some skills, you're going to need to know how to work on cars, do some kind of tech work, something, welding, construction, something, because I know what, these houses ain't going to build themselves anytime soon. These trucks ain't going to drive themselves anytime soon. These brakes ain't going to replace themselves anytime soon. Have some hard skills you can do that will get you through. Because if you can't read and you have no hard skills, you may as well just go straight to the crack spot, start smoking or selling. I mean, you got to have some skills or something. And then they're raising the minimum wage up high to where you can't even get a job that's low skilled when you are a young man or woman. It's terrible. I bring back hard skills and some soft skills into schools, and this thing we're doing right now would kind of get overhauled big time. And those kids that needed more advanced training and skills, they'd be just fine as well. They would have their advanced math and their advanced reading and things of that nature. I wouldn't take away these classes to make way for those that are performing very poorly in their K-12 education. You understand what I'm saying? I wouldn't do that. I would have something for everybody. If it was me, it'd be available to kids. All right, let's get to the next one. Let's go 330. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, Anthony Brian Logan, what's up?
Everything's great. About yourself?
Oh, yeah, this is Andrew from Twinsburg, Ohio. I'm glad I got on.
All righty. What's happening?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the Electoral College and the hypocrisy of the Democrats. If you remember the 2004 election, I was in high school, and if you remember, I think Kerry only won 19 states. But if he would have won Ohio, he would have won the election. And guess what? He would have lost the popular vote. And Democrats would have been fine with that.
Oh, of course. They're totally fine with that, because if it benefits them, then it's no problem. Like I said earlier, about this whole thing about the election results, challenging the election, in the New York mayoral race, the NYC mayoral race, they're challenging the election up there, talking about, oh, well, you know, you got to do a recount. The votes aren't in, all this and that. They're challenging that up there, and there's no problem because they're Democrats. Same thing with the governor race in Georgia. Stacey Abrams says she was cheated. She really won. Brian Kemp didn't win, and no problem with that. But when Trump says it, all of a sudden it's the issue. You're challenging democracy. You hate America. So they always get into the hypocrisy. I mean, the left without hypocrisy, it's not even the same. They go hand in hand.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, and I wanted to mention one other thing a lot of people forget about. In 2016, there was a 26-hour sit-in. Remember the wacky Democrats in Congress? They had a sit-in over the Orlando nightclub shooting. And they always want more gun control. But if you remember, there was a story published about Omar Martin, who killed, I think it was 58 people in that gay nightclub. He was going to target Disney Springs at Disney World, or one of the big amusement parks there. But because of the large police presence, he abandoned those plans. And he saw the gay nightclub because there was no armed security and a lot of people were intoxicated. And it was an environment where he could get away with killing a lot of people. So Democrats, they never get the concept that mass shooters are always looking for the most vulnerable gun-free zones. And I don't know if they understand that concept or not, or they're just using that as political leverage, I guess you can call it. I just wanted your opinion on that.
That's a really good point. I mean, this is something that people should understand by now. But again, like I was saying to another caller, a lot of these people have never really experienced that. They don't have that knowledge from when they're children, and they get brainwashed in these schools, K through 12, college. They get brainwashed talking about, oh, well, we need to get rid of guns because the guns are the problem. And not talking to, and also the police, over policing. What does it even mean? Ain't no such thing. The police in many communities are the last bastion of hope. We need the police. But when you've been brainwashed that the police are the problem, and if the police were to go away, then everything would be fine. You don't even understand that when you have a higher police presence, there's less of a chance of anything bad happening, because a lot of these criminals, they want to get away with what they do. They don't want to do something and get caught right away. So people got to understand that concept, but a lot of them just don't, because they don't have a lot of common sense. Sheltered lives, being brainwashed, so they believe things aren't true.
Yeah, if you remember that one shooting in Texas, the Sutherland Springs shooting, it was a neighbor who stopped the shooting because he killed over 26 people. I believe it was 26 people in the church, and his car was running, but luckily that neighbor had an AR-15, and he shot the intruder, and then there was a bystander in a truck. Luckily, he saw that incident, and the guy with the AR-15 chased down the criminal, if you remember that story, because he wanted to shoot up another church. So thank goodness that guy was there with that AR-15. What was his name again? Stephen Williford. Yeah, he was a hero.
I remember that guy. And then I remember there was another shooting in the church where one of the actual church members was inside the church with his gun, and he had I'm talking about a super sharp shot. The guy put out a shotgun from his clothes and just started shooting randomly. And then the church member had his pistol, shot on one good time. Bang. It was done. It was over with. And a lot of the members in the church were armed. Good guy with a gun. Simple concept, but not everybody understands it.
Yeah, and I just wanted to make one more point about the Republican Party when the Democrats accused us of being racist. On February 25th, 1870, that's only 5 years after the Civil War, the Republican Party appointed Hiram Rhodes Revels, a gospel minister, to the United States Senate. So he became the first African-American to serve in the Senate in 1870, only 5 years after the Civil War. And that's just incredible. And I try to remember that when I'm debating any liberal, and they'll ignore my statement, but at the end of the day, we're the Republican Party. We're inclusive. We are not the racist party. It's the Democrats, and they always use that against us when the facts are on our side. And I really appreciate everything you're doing. And I'm thankful for you taking my call, and I appreciate everything you're doing.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you. All right. Shout out to the caller. Yeah, man. Good guy with a gun. This is why you don't see a lot of these riots and stuff like that happening in the suburb areas, because, it's all kind of jokes about the suburbs, or you guys picket fences and, cute little dogs. But what they don't say is how we got a bunch of them, those objects I won't talk about because, boating accident, lost them all. But we are not going to be just run over by some weirdos. They stay in the city area, downtown area. And the funny part is that a lot of these rioters are surrounded by the police. They feel safer with the police there, and they feel safer knowing that it's not a residential area, it's a bunch of shops where anybody really going to be. They go out there and do a bunch of damage, but they're not coming to like a neighborhood or in the suburbs close to a neighborhood where people are going to be armed. They're not going to do that. They kind of felt it a little bit when they went to that place in St. Louis. Remember that with the McCloskeys? They kind of felt it right there, but they were still kind of in the city. Go out a little bit further into the suburbs. Oh, no. And go to the rural areas with that. Go to West Virginia and some of these hollers in the mountain. Oh, matter of fact, don't do that. Don't do that, because I might not like you guys that are crazy on the left, but I want you to live and, turn it around. If you are a crazy leftist, you can turn your life around and do well in life. I don't want to see you come to an early end. You understand? But I digress. 901, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, that's Brian Logan?
Yes, it is. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, Brian. Hey, this is Eric. Hey, listen, I just want to comment on some of the stuff that's been said. You said something about the education a few minutes ago. And I do agree with the education. They're trying to dumb down a lot of people in this country simply because if you have no education, you have no parents, the government wants to control you. You have to kind of go back. I think a lot of times they're pointing out to a lot of ignorance in this, whether you're black, white, or whatever your race is, that don't matter. They're dumbing down the American public. You got to take a look at something, how it started. If you go back to the Revolutionary War, when the first colonies came over to the New World, which we know as the United States of America, they was running from something. They was running from not being able to carry guns. They had no freedom of speech. They didn't have any of that stuff in England. So when they sent the British over, they sent the British soldiers over, they said, well, you are going to pay taxes. You are going to, give up your guns. But what they didn't realize that they was armed, and they fought back and they killed them, and they won. Well, that's why they want to take the guns away. I hear all these comments about, oh, they want to take my guns because of this. They want to take my guns because of this. No, actually, they want to take your guns because one day the government, especially the Democratic Party, they want to control you so they can just walk in your home. They can just do whatever they want to do to you. And if you don't have any guns, you can't fight back. We've been down that road before, so now it's starting to be a repetitive cycle again. Well, you also have to look at where the Democratic Party comes from. It started along with the Democratic Party is responsible for the design of the Ku Klux Klan, which started in Pulaski, Tennessee. If anybody wants to look it up, they can look it up. The Klan originated in Pulaski, Tennessee. I'm from Memphis. So, and then he went on, his name was Nathan Bedford Forrest. And so you have this Democratic Party that's in Memphis, Tennessee, that's predominantly black. They pushed not too long ago to tear down the statue of Lieutenant General Forrest, which I didn't see why, even though, he was Confederate general and he was the founder of the Klan. It's still, you can't erase history because that's how things come to repeat itself. Anyway,
and they also hold on, and they also dug him up.
Right, they dug up the graves, it dug up the grave of him and his wife, which was immoral. Like I said before, those were the times then. You have to look at something. Those times were totally different than what we live in, and that's all those people knew. Yep. And you have to kind of look at why it was started. It was really started by rich power brokers. That's where it started from. And then, what they don't know is General Forrester went on and he ran for the city council on a Democratic ticket and became the first Democratic alderman in the city of Memphis. But yet you got all the black people in Memphis that's running for office. They're running on a Democratic ticket. Well, he was too. And so what gets me is if you look at the Republican Party, they always have, they never really wanted slavery. Well, the Democrats always did want slavery because the Democrats want power. So when I hear all these stories and stuff, and I hear people calling in, I hear people making comments and this, I think a lot of times we, as conservative people, we will be able to fight back a little bit better if we just understood what they're trying to do. They're actually trying to do they're trying to do with the masculine male, because if you have if you have to look around, I have nothing against nobody, and believe me, everybody's got rights and everything. That's fine, but if you look around, you look at how they're putting women in charge of everything, and I have no problem with nobody, believe me, and they're starting to put homosexuals in charge of everything, and I have no problem with them either. But if you get rid of the masculine male, you think about it. It's kind of like a woman and children being at home by themselves. And you got 4 or 5 brutal men that come in. There's no strong man to stop them. Remember, this country was fought and it was stood up by strong men. Well, they're trying to do away with it. It's about control. And eventually, if we keep going down this route and us strong men, whether you're black, white, or whatever you are, if we do not take a stand, we are going to be a communist country, because you will have no right to carry guns. You will have no rights to freedom of speech. And take a look at it. Everything I've said is true. You can see it happening right in front of your eyes.
You're right, man. Right on.
I don't know if you believe that or not, but it's the absolute truth.
I mean, you said it perfectly, man. Right on, man. Thank you for your call. I definitely appreciate you.
Thank you, Anthony.
I mean, very well said. I couldn't really say it no better myself. That was very well said. So shout out to the caller. And the number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. If the number's not working, it's not my fault. I keep on trying, it'll get through eventually. Let's go to some more here. 530, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
What was that, sir?
All righty. What's going on?
Yes, sir. My name is Robert Chase. I'm from California, and there's actually quite a bit on my plate. I was kind of wondering if you were looking for a specific topic, or should I just ramble off about the fire season that we're currently having, the educational system that's going to heck? I mean, I've been thinking on this stuff for years, man. More than happy to talk about anything.
Well, first thing, I got a little bit of feedback in the background. If you turn the speakers down for me, that'd be great.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. There, I just muted it, sir.
All right.
Anyways, one of the things that they're doing here in California this year is during our lovely little fire seasons. Last year, we had over 4 million acres burned down. People were catching our smoke over in New York. These fools in California sat there and allotted $15 million of stimulus money to to the research of fallen down trees in forest where they don't touch the dang trees at all. Well, this is to find out what in the heck's going on fire-wise or whatever. Well, this year we've already got 3,000-acre fires and everything else. I lost 7 friends last year. This is ridiculous. I mean, there are so many simple things like cutting fire lines when it is still wet and the land is pliable, planting greenery that actually retains water to reduce fire from coming into towns, things of that nature. You throw on top of that what they're doing in the education system, the state and local government system, and every other system that they have in place. They're abusing the heck out of it. And one easy point that I can point out here, veterans. My father was a Vietnam combat vet. One of the things a lot of people don't get is over 48% of the homeless population are veterans. We could reduce gun violence in our country and employ our veterans if we actually bought up like hotels and stuff and turned them into the equivalent of rehab houses for transitioning combat veterans coming home. Who in the heck would be better as weapons instructors to youth in our country than the people who were supposedly trained by the best military on the planet? Sorry for rambling. That's all I got for you, bud, for right now.
All right, thank you for the call. Appreciate you.
Hey, I appreciate it too. Thank you for your time.
All righty. Yeah, I mean, it's some ideas. It's definitely some ideas. Now, the only thing would be having that idea play out in real time and in full living color. Let's see how it actually looks. That's all. If it can work, then it worked. Let's get some more. 914, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, what's up, ABL? This is Anthony from New York.
All right, man. What's going on?
Not much. I'm at work right now. I called a few times. I love your show, and I love how you always be spitting the truth, and you're not afraid to say how you feel, and I always respect that about you. I found your channel a couple of years ago, and I've been a nonstop listener. And I just want you to know, man, just keep doing your thing. Basically, whenever I call, I normally don't ask questions. I normally just call because I vent. I do a lot of venting because of all the stuff that's been happening lately, Like the world, it seems like it almost seems like the world's like going upside down, Like I don't understand, man. People's brains are reversed, I basically want a few things, special topics on your show today, which I also want to talk about. Was one with ESPN and how you mentioned the NBA earlier, how you're a Milwaukee fan, which, I understand. See, I'm a Knicks fan, unfortunately, but I stopped watching the NBA because I can't deal with all the, all that propaganda. I just can't. I tried to watch it again, but I just can't. I can't get into it, man. Like I don't know. It's not the same how it used to be to me. I grew up with the Knicks in the '90s with Oakley and Ewing and Anthony Mason and John Starks and I remember that era of the Knicks, and I remember that era of basketball with Ahmad Rashad. And, that was a better time, at least in my opinion. And now I just can't get into it anymore. And the CRT, the critical race theory. I really don't. I don't know. Me personally, I don't like using that term because to me that's the left's term. Let's just call it how it is, man. That's just flat out racism. And where I work, they had Rodney D'Angelo and what's that other dude's name? Ibram X Kennedy, I believe his name was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his name. Yeah, they did like a Zoom meeting at my job, and I tried to attend it because I wanted to speak my mind, and I wasn't able to attend. I mean, there was quite a few people there, but I wasn't able to attend it. And I'm just wondering why, like, my job is inviting racists, like, to talk to people. It's like, what's going on here? Like, and that's the president of where I work. See, I work in a hospital, and that's the president building up the hospital. Now, it's cool. What's cool though is I checked my email today, and I saw that the president is going to be here Friday for to greet the staff for a one-time thing. So I'm a little excited about that because I have a few words for him. You know, I want to know why he's allowing racist people like that to come talk to us about. I mean, like, what's up with that? Like, I don't want to. Come on, man. Like, there's a lot of blind people, man, and where I'm at. Like, I'm in Massachusetts. I live in Queens, New York, but like, I work in Massachusetts, and like, out here, people are. I don't know, man. People are scared to speak their minds. People are. I don't know. People are soft nowadays, and like, they don't want to say what they really think because they scared about what other people, what they think. And like, me, I'm not like that, man. Like, if I got something to say, then I'm just gonna say it, man. And like, I don't know. I think that's what's lacking in today's society is people just became soft. Like, I remember in the 90s, like, people. I mean, it was just a different time, and people were different. Nowadays, I don't know, man. They're just soft, you know. They're like marshmallows. I don't get what's going on. But this critical race theory, or should I say this racism, I got three kids, and my kids are mixed, and I know for a fact that they're going to be trying to teach this stuff to my kids in school. And me as a person, I know how I am, and like, I'm going to end up going to the school, and I don't want to cause a ruckus or something, but like, if I find out my kids come home and they're showing me some crazy stuff, I don't know how I'm going to react. Like me, I'm not the type to just sit there and not say nothing. I'm the type to go do something. I do action. I don't just say something. I do action. And I really hope that something gets done about this, you know, because I think that I don't know, man. It seems like we're headed in a direction where everything is just upside down. People are scared. People are afraid. People are soft. That's why I respect people like you, because, you know, you tell it how it is. And a lot of people don't do that. And I think more people got to start standing up. They really do, man. And it's crazy. It's just crazy to me what kind of world we're living in. We're living in a world where we got a zombie for a president. No wonder dead voters voted for him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, let's get real here.
I'm with you, man.
Could you imagine if it was Trump's son going around in a carpet picking up Parmesan cheese? We know what we're talking about here. Come on, man, right? He's digging through the carpet looking for Parmesan. You got a president that's a zombie and a fiend for a son. I mean, come on, man. Like, what's gonna happen? I mean, like, don't listen. The best advice I can say is don't let Hunter in the White House. You know everything's getting robbed. Everything's getting robbed in the White House if Hunter gets in there. You know, but I don't know, man. I don't like the hypocrisy. I don't like how the news don't talk about it. They cover up for this fool. I don't know, man. Like, I grew up around like a lot of that stuff. I grew up with vials around where I was living at, and people talk about like the white privilege thing, blah blah blah. I didn't grow up around none of that nonsense. I grew up in a crazy spot. I grew up in the 80s, 90s with vials all around me.
You know what I'm saying? And then we had this lady like Robin DiAngelo coming in, like she knows anything. She's from a background where she got bread, she got money. I'm from a background I don't got no bread and I ain't got no money. I had to work my way up. I had to do what I had to do. And I don't know. I think it's disrespect. I don't know. I think a lot of people are getting stepped on, and people got to start speaking the truth. People got to start stepping up and stop being soft cowards. You know, and
that's right.
I respect everything that you do, man. Like everything that you do. I watch all your videos, man. I want you to keep speaking the truth, ABL, man. You, Mr. Officer Tatum, you guys, man. Like I swear to God, man. Like you guys change people's lives, man. And like people really, your channel's got to be spread throughout everywhere.
Thank you, man.
I share all your videos, ABL, man. Like I respect you, man. And I said this to you before, like just all your listeners and you just check out my track 2 + 2 = 5. You know, it's on whatever and everything. That's my YouTube channel. It's very small, but
I got you, man.
spit facts in it. And, it's more of a 90s hip-hop style, but just like, I just want people to know about it, get the word out, and I respect everything you do, man.
Well, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, no doubt, LBL, man. Peace, man.
I know. All right, shout out to the caller. All right, number to call, 434-658-1220. 1220. Victor, what's going on?
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Ain't no problem.
Hey, man. Have you heard of what happened in Chicago?
There's been a lot happening. What has happened that's new?
Well, the 4th of July weekend shooting, how is the most shootings that happened this year. 100 people shot, 18 people killed.
Yep. I mean, and if you got 100 people shot, I'm sure there's some mass shootings in there as well. At least a couple of them maybe, but they don't get reported to the mainstream media as mass shootings. I wonder why.
No. And what's so funny is that recently, and this is, I think about 2 months ago at the latest, the mayor mentioned that she wanted to put $10 million to fight against racism. Last time I checked, those people being shot wasn't due to racism.
It sure wasn't.
I mean, D-Thing. Do you know who D-Thing is?
That's one of the rappers' brother. Was it
Lil
Durk?
Yeah, Lil Durk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Racism didn't kill D-Thing.
That's right.
And if you don't know, I was shocked that they got D-Thing. Out of all the people, I can't believe they got him. I don't think he was banging at the time, or if he ever did bang. However, he was going at it with the rapper Ruga, which is FBG Duck cousin. Lil Durk was dissing Ruga. Yeah, and then Lil Durk was dissing FBG Duck.
Okay.
In the song, Ruga was like, "Dude, he's dead. Why are you putting his name in the song?" The funny thing is, Lil Durk never dissed anyone personally, but all of a sudden he dissed a dead person.
Right.
And D-Thing got into it. He got into that mess, and now you found him dead. That's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, the CRT, what's that woman name?
Which one? You talking about?
No, not CRT. I'm sorry. The 1619 Project.
Oh, you talking about Nicole Hannah-Jones?
Yeah, that one. Yeah. I mean, I didn't care much about it until the whole tenure thing, how it just all blew up. I looked into it. I'm like, why is she making this such an inaccurate historical claim, saying that the people fought the Revolutionary War to keep slavery, when it had nothing to do with slavery? In fact, I had to even look into the history about the American Revolution. Found out that after the Revolution, you had a lot of states, especially in the North, emancipating their slaves. after the war.
Yep.
How can you make that inaccurate statement? And on top of that, people like James McPherson, which black people respect a lot about from James McPherson. And if you haven't read his book, The Negro Civil War, I suggest you read about that to look at the black people point of view of the Civil War. It's very good. Him and other people, all they said was, just make that correction. Don't throw out the whole project. Just make that correction. That's it. But she was like, no, I don't want to make that correction because I believe it was because of slavery. The main people I have a problem with all this is the New York Times. Was it the New York Times that gave her that award?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, whoever gave her that award, I blame them because they put UNC in a bad position about, okay, well, we supposed to give her tenure because she won this award. At the same time, this is inaccurate. I don't know what UNC could do in that position.
Right. They couldn't do anything, really. I mean, they were pretty much stuck, rocking a hard place. And then really, for real, like, she shouldn't have been in that position that she was in anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was a mistake from the very beginning. So now you are put into a bad situation because of the mistake that you made, trying to be all virtuous and whatnot. But that's how it works. So all of what's happening to UNC, I don't feel bad for them because that's really their fault from the beginning. They set themselves up for failure.
Yeah. And last one, this news happened a while ago, but did you hear about the people in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the people who came from the Tulsa riots back in the 1921, how they want reparations?
I think I did hear about some of them wanting reparations now. Yeah. They
offered the city, I think probably all of Oklahoma. They were offering reparations to them,
mm-hmm.
but they turned it down because they say they want more money from it. Thing is, I can understand with what happened in Florida, where a similar situation happened in Florida, and those people got reparations from Florida. But with Tulsa, I don't know, because they rebuilt the community.
They sure did.
I don't know what do you think? You think they should get reparations because they end up rebuilding the community?
Nah, I mean, I don't understand what it's for, though. Like, why would they be getting it unless the city was involved with them being displaced or they took something from them? I don't understand what they would be getting. I don't understand. So I don't even know what the claim is. And then, like you said, they rebuilt it. The only reason why, because people talk about, Black Wall Street, they say, oh, well, the white people came and destroyed it. Well, I mean, there was a battle, there was a race riot, really, that leveled a big part of the town, but it was rebuilt within 5 years or less, and it lasted for 40 more years. The only reason why it's not there anymore is because of integration. Black folks left it. That's not because of the white man. It's just because they made a decision to leave it. That's why it's gone. But people, they don't think that way. So I'm not really sure what the payment would be for your decision to leave it, or for what? For a riot happening and then some bad things going on. I don't know how that makes any sense.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, I'm getting to Grim Berry mode because your hat is triggering me. So I'll talk to you later.
All right, thank you for the call, man. Appreciate it.
All right, bye.
Reparations is always one of those hot topics, right? The left love to discuss occasionally. Like I said when I was speaking in Athens, Tennessee, in front of the Mitt County Republican Party, and that was a great event. If you guys went there, I'm glad you went. And if you watched the video, thank you for watching. But they dangling the carrot. Oh, we'll do a study on it. Studying what? Slavery been over since 1865. What? 160 years, 170 years? Very long time ago. We'll be at 200 years before you know it. All right? We're about 160 right now. 200 is upon us. very soon. Within your lifetime, it'll be 200 years. At the 200-year mark, we're still not going to have reparations. So it's a carrot dangling. We'll do a study. It's been hundreds of years. What are we studying? They're never going to do it. They're very decisive when it comes to other little special interest groups they really want to attract. Oh, LGBT, we'll do this, and we'll do that. And then they do it first day. Remember when Joe Biden had a stack of papers to sign on his first day in office? All these special interest groups, all these people that gave him money, signing them. He don't know what he's reading, what he's signing, signing. Anything for you? Reparation seeker? Nope. Any kind of, little student loan? Nope. Anything? Nope. He told you during the campaign, hey, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. That's all you're going to get. And people went out there and voted for him anyway. And then now complaining about not getting anything. Why would you get anything if you don't require it? But anyway, it had never happened. And in that case of Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, what is your claim? Who would the money come from and why? 859 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, yeah, what's up, baby?
Everything's good, man. What's going on?
Doing good. Just had to mute you. Was gonna call and ask you about the building collapse in Miami, and I know you haven't really covered it, and I was gonna see how you feel about that. They said John McAfee had some files in there.
Well, I've heard about John McAfee and the files, but I don't know a lot about that. I just kind of heard it in passing. But as far as the collapse, I mean, some heads going to roll because let's just say there was some stuff in there from McAfee. Well, there was a report that came out years ago that said that the building had some very serious structural issues back in like 2018, and it was never addressed. I think I read somewhere where they said they needed to pay like $7 million to get the structure upgraded and never did it. So this was a building that was, it had been degrading over time. It was an old building. It's been there like since the 70s. You're right there on the beach. You got erosion and weather, all types of stuff that could damage it. It was constructed poorly. So it was a ticking time bomb. And unfortunately, you probably have about 200 dead people in there, unfortunately. So I'm not sure who's responsible for making the improvements to the building, spending the money to get it up to code or whatever. But whoever they are going to be toast. A civil lawsuit is coming, and they're going to pay out big time, as they should.
All right. So you don't think there was anything behind it?
I don't know. It's possible, but my thing is, it wasn't like the structural issues weren't known. You see what I'm saying? So it's like maybe they did that to cover something up, but I doubt it because of the problems that already existed from years ago. But it's possible.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, and I've not looked too much into it, but yeah, that's something I've been looking into, was to see if it did involve him.
Yeah, I mean, if I can find more information about it, I definitely would, take it and do some research. But all I've heard is that he has some files there, and I've not heard anything else. So, but I'll keep my eye on it for sure.
All right. Yes, sir. All right. Well, good talking to you, brother. And shout out Lexington, Kentucky, baby. Let's go.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate it.
All right. We'll see you.
All right. Yeah, shout out Lexington, Kentucky. But yeah, that building, it was very eerie the way it collapsed. It reminded me of 9/11, but I won't go down that road, so I digress. But it was very eerie the way it collapsed. Did you guys see the camera, the footage of the security camera or whatever of it collapsing? Very eerie. But a lot of dead people in there. They said like there's still 160 or so missing and 30 or 40 confirmed dead. They're not gonna find anybody else, unfortunately. Because the problem was, I think the building had collapsed at night when everybody was sleeping, or when most of the building was asleep. You're dealing with senior citizens and stuff like that, people's grandmas, 80, 90 years old. It's really rough. Prayers out to all the families, anybody that had a loved one or knew somebody in there, everybody that passed away. Very, very sad. But as far as it being intentionally done, I don't know. I can't say that, but it did sounds suspicious right when I heard it, and then I heard the John McAfee part. It sounds suspicious, but I don't know a lot about that. All right, I answered the call, but I was a little bit too slow to the trigger, I suppose. Let's get to the next one. Let's go 909. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to? 909. Hello. All right. I answered 909. Maybe the person doesn't know you have to talk to me on the phone. You can't talk to the screen because it will be a delay. If you try to talk to the screen, it's not going to work. I promise. It will not work. Let's get to the next one here. Let's go 219. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
ATC, my good friend. Been a while since the last chat with you.
All righty. What's happening?
A lot of craziness going on with the world and trying to survive it.
Yeah, definitely a whole lot of crazy things happening. Lot of things that are going on, just trying to get through it, right?
Sadly, especially since when you're in Indiana and you're almost an hour away from Chicago, especially when you hear about what happened last weekend. Yeah,
definitely. That's, a little too close to comfort, just a little bit too close. But it's sad that this kind of thing, it's predictable to happen, unfortunately. I saw the police chief in Chicago saying, hey, no time off, we're doing extended shifts, mandatory overtime, because he knew that it was going to be a problem. You got a lot of stuff happening, the whole defund the police movement going on. You have this whole anti-authority.
Being moved by the Republicans, said by the media.
You said what now?
That the whole defunding the police from the media is being pushed by the Republicans.
That is hilarious. That is totally hilarious. I mean, but you know what? Trump said something on the press conference about the lawsuit today about that makes perfect sense. It's the media will repeat something over and over and over and over and over and over again until it's believed. It'd be totally ridiculous. Something like, the GOP, they want to defund the police. That's absurd. We all know, people that watch this show and other shows and just are aware and have a brain in our head, we know it's not true. But a lot of these normies they don't get any news beyond your CNN, MS-13 DNC. They don't know any better. So when they hear it over and over, they tend to believe it. And then when you come with cold hard facts, evidence, documentation, videotape, they don't want to believe it because they've already been brainwashed. So it's crazy how they're doing things out in the open blatantly.
Very much. The way I see it, because since with how last year, with all the craziness going on, and then when November 3rd came around, let's just say it was pretty much the equivalent of opening the floodgates to all of this. And then when January 6th came around, well, let's just say forget about closing the floodgates. They just ripped the darn things down.
For sure.
Pardon my French.
Nah, you're right. Absolutely.
Especially when you got all this craziness going on, that usually it may take about like a year and a half to get to that point. But instead, it was just like, it's kind of like one of those time crisis movies where they rip the controls and set it to the highest setting and then destroy them so that way no one could stop like the train or the truck or bus.
Right.
Like those kind of events.
Right on.
Not only that, but also when you got, I wouldn't call her Beetlejuice because that would be insulting to Beetlejuice. Like pretty much doing the equivalent of like a 5-year-old by stucking her fingers in her ears and going, la, 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 I'm not listening, la, la, la.
Right.
That there is no crime violence in Ba Sing Se. Let's see if anyone can get that reference in the comments. But yeah. And another thing too, one more topic before I go is about that whole door-to-door vaccination. Really?
That's what they say.
We're down to that point now.
That's where we are nowadays. I mean, I think it might be a bad idea because I'm seeing quite a bit of resistance to it already online. And if I'm seeing that online, imagine what'll happen once it goes out there just in the wild and people start to experience it. That's not going to be a good. It won't end well, in my humble opinion.
Oh, big time. It'll be pretty much the same thing like how if the ATF decided to go after people's firearms. Do you really want to risk your life to go and get someone's guns?
Right,
That's
exactly.
the question. So that would be the same thing with the vaccination. especially when how more crazy theories going out, either some that are true or false. So coming out, you don't know what to believe.
Right.
And with how everyone's treating the quote science like religion, just leaves a nasty taste in your mouth.
That's right.
And that's the last thing, promise. The CRT, funny about like how they claim that it doesn't exist. Now, anyway, here's why there are certain people are bad and certain people are good.
they'll say
one breath too.
They'll say it's not real, doesn't really exist, but at the same time, they tell you all the benefits of it, all the pros and the cons. That they'll give you the full breakdown of it.
And in one paragraph too, in the same one, not like two paragraphs or a couple of minutes later in the same time.
Right, absolutely.
To the point you just feel like you want to just facepalm so badly from it.
Exactly.
Well, I'll let you go, man. Keep up the good fight, man.
All right, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Oh, one question though. How was your 4th of July?
Well, everything was great. Had a great time. You know, definitely very patriotic out here where I live in Tennessee. So had a great time.
It smelled like sulfur gunpowder for a while.
Oh, a little while, but it's fine. You know, it's like smell like freedom.
Ain't that the truth? And a bit of a hacking cough too when you think of it.
It's all right. Well, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate it.
You too, man. Cheers, everyone.
All right, shout out to the caller. And thank you all for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. If you enjoyed what you're hearing so far, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Also, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. If you're listening on your favorite audio streaming platform, give me a 5-star rating, give me a review, do whatever you can over there. I'd appreciate it if you did. Let's get to a few more here. Let's go to 647. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, hi.
Hello.
Hi, this is Sarah. I was calling because I wanted to just quickly chat with you about something that I don't really see a lot of the conversation online or in the political space kind of centering around. Like, we're getting a lot of people are kind of focused on like the policies that are happening, and I understand that that's a big problem. But the thing that I'm more concerned about is a lot of these politicians are talking about incentives and things that they want to incentivize and things that they want to push to get people interested in things, but they're not talking about how important it is to de-incentivize certain behaviors. So I was wondering, do you think there will ever come a time where politicians actually make a conscious effort to de-incentivize certain types of behavior? Like, one of the policies that I've always thought was ridiculous was the idea that you could receive government assistance and continue to have children while on government assistance. What will it take? Do you think there will ever come a time where politicians will stop trying to implement new ways to incentivize people to vote for them and start understanding that for those people who actually are, like, if they want to secure their base, it's not necessarily about giving things, it's also about taking away certain things in order for people to kind of stand up and do what they need to do? Because I think we've now created a society and a generation of coddled, entitled people because they're so used to everything being safe and secure and there being a safety net for them to fall into. So there's no real bottom for anyone in America in that sense. Of course, there's a bottom, like you can end up homeless on Skid Row, but like, when do you think politicians are going to de-incentivize behavior instead of constantly talking about incentives?
I mean, that's a really good point. I've said it a lot. Because this welfare state is a big part of the problem because people are incentivized to behave irresponsibly. Like, really, it's like a paycheck. They can give birth to a paycheck. Okay, I keep having these kids. I know regardless of what happens, I have Uncle Sam that'll support me. If we don't want to have a bunch of these kids that grow up to be monsters or grow up totally neglected, we got to stop the welfare state. That has to end. And also the thing about marriage, people just kind of have babies and don't even really care about being married. I see all the time, like the modern woman, what I see is we don't need men anymore. Well, you want to have kids, right? Yeah, I don't need a man for that. I can just go out and make a baby. It's like not even caring about having a 2-parent household, just really selfish, kind of me. A lot of that, like you said, it's incentivized by the welfare state. It's incentivized by rewarding bad behavior. So I agree with you. We need to stop rewarding bad behavior to disincentivize the bad behavior.
Yeah, the reason I asked that question is because I interview people as well. And when I talk to them, like the most recent person that I spoke with was a person who he grew up in a household where he experienced sexual abuse as a child. And what I've noticed is that a lot of the push for people to kind of talk about, you know, systems of white supremacy, and I'm Black, by the way, so like the whole system of white supremacy and how everybody's out to get you, and how it's like a school to prison pipeline. A lot of it has to do with the fact that a lot of these kids are coming out of broken homes, and they're coming out of situations where there's no real incentive for the people in their lives to do what they're supposed to do. There's always somebody passing the blame and passing the buck and saying, hey, it's not my fault. So if there is an entire system that is set up where no one's at fault, so therefore anything that happens to children in that process, and one of the things I think a lot of women don't even realize is how common male sexual abuse actually is. A lot of these boys that are ending up in the system are actually victims of serious trauma because they're growing up in households where there is no bottom. Mothers are just pumping out children just because it secures a paycheck. Not only de-incentivizing, you know, reckless birthing, not only can restructure society, but it also saves a lot of lives, because if the whole purpose of having a child in certain regards is just to secure a paycheck, you take away that incentive, you're actually saving a life.
That's right. Absolutely correct.
Yeah. So I was just curious because you talk more about politics than I do. And like, just hearing the stories of what, like men go through, and it has a huge impact on what we're seeing today. So so you mentioned women saying that, like they don't need fathers. Well, one of the reasons I can establish, like, I think a lot of women believe that, which is not true. Boys need fathers so badly it's not even funny. Is because a lot of the dudes that are out here, they're coming from messed up homes, and a lot of these guys have mother issues because they're growing up in homes where there's a lot of abuse, a lot of manipulation, a lot of emotional manipulation, and especially in the Black community. And once again, I'm Black. When Black boys tend to grow up with a lot of abusive women around them, or they feel that the women around them are very abusive, they tend to project that onto every other woman. So I think we're diminishing the role that fathers play, and we're not really focusing on the role that a disgruntled, potentially, you know, stressed out and maybe even emotionally compromised mother can play. So the only way we're going to fix this is de-incentivizing, but it seems like it's more complicated, because when you de-incentivize someone to birth someone who is literally a cog in the machine, because, you know, children, like Black children, tend to be feeding a lot of society. Our children tend to feed the prison industrial complex. They tend to we tend to feed the healthcare system. There's a lot of things that Black people actually feed into society. So if there's less of us, I'm trying to ask this properly. There's a lot of things running through my head.
Just say it the way you want to say
it. I'm sorry?
Just say it the way you want to say it. Don't try to formulate it. Just say it.
Yeah. How do we save our community when the entire society is kind of in a lot of ways based on the Black community being completely dysfunctional?
Well, we got to just start it among ourselves. I think that it's going to take everyone to do it for themselves. And if we want to see things get done that's not getting done, we got to get involved. Because a lot of times we rely upon other people to do things. Like, we rely upon the system, we rely upon the government, but the system is people. The government is people. At a certain point, we have to be the change we want to see if things aren't going the way we want it to go. This is part of the reason why I got on YouTube, just to break it down to like a basic level. not anything that's so big like what we're talking about, but I did not see a lot of conservatives like me talking like how I would talk. So that's part of the reason. It's like, okay, if I don't see it, why don't I just do it myself? If I can't get it done by somebody else, how about I do it? So we got to take that responsibility on our back to be the change we want to see. Because if it's not happening, then it's like, who is going to do it? We see the need. We know what needs to be done. We got to be out there on the front lines making it happen, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, I was curious to hear your feedback on that. Well, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you for the call. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, it's a good call, but we got to be the change you want to see. That's just really the long and short. If we're not seeing what we want to see, if things aren't going really right, we have to be the change. If we are waiting for others to do it for us, it might not never get done. Then you're going to be sitting here like, hey, why didn't it happen? Well, you had the power, but maybe you didn't. Maybe you weren't able to exercise it. But somebody's got to do it. Somebody is doing it. So we rather it be one of us rather than them, if you understand what I'm saying. All right, let's get to the next one. 410, you're the line. Who am I speaking to?
Joey.
All righty, what's happening?
Is this ABL?
Yes, it is.
Oh, my God, the man, the myth, the legend. I can't believe I got through. How you doing tonight, man?
Everything's all right. How about yourself?
I can't complain. The previous caller, she just needs to listen to Jesse Lee Peterson. She'll get all the answers that she needs, in my personal opinion. But, hey, man, what I wanted to say was, well, I wanted to ask you a question, first of all. Are you familiar with the notion that the military is trying to force vaccines on the troops?
Yeah, I've been hearing about that. I've had people that know what's happening directly that have told me about it.
Okay, and you heard about, like, troops saying that they was going to get out if that was the case?
Oh, yeah, I've heard all types of people saying, nope, not going to do it. It's not happening. Yeah, I have heard that.
Right. So, man, dude, like, I've been active duty. I've been in for 10 years. And it is rampant all throughout the ranks, everywhere. Like, people don't trust this stuff at all. And I wanted to call in just kind of like to verify or validate, if I can, that it's just, yeah, I don't know the whole goal and agenda, because, you know, like, the only way I could really put it is a lot of people have this preconceived notion that, like, the military is kind of like the guinea pigs. Right, so like what they'll do is if they have like an agenda or anything that they want to push, they'll go ahead and they'll try it in the military first to see how the populace will how the military ranks take it, and then they'll go ahead and they'll push it out, you know, kind of like to the civilians, because they'll have like, you know, a way to judge and things like that. I mean, what I can say is when the vaccine first came out, it was all voluntary, and the whole thing about it is they put it on the commanders of each unit. And the commanders within the units were like, you know, if you want to go on leave, we have to make sure you're safe. And in order to make you safe, you have to get back. They couldn't force you to do it, but they could kind of like pressure you into do it. But then what wound up happening was that that was actually against regulation, and those commanders wound up getting in trouble. Yeah, so that did, you know, crazy things there, because regulation, the way that it rolls, is airtight. There's certain things that you can and cannot do, just very much similar with civilians and laws. But the way that it's going now is if you know, that what is it, the emergency authorization, if that's lifted, then you know, there's going to be it's going to be an interesting thing that happens, because a lot of people are you know, it's a volunteer army. A lot of people are refusing re-enlistment or continuation of active duty or any type of volunteer service as a result of forced vaccination, which I think is pretty interesting, in my personal opinion. I wanted to get your thoughts on it.
I mean, it's fair for people to refuse to re-enlist, to refuse to continue serving, because, like you said, it's a volunteer army. There's no more conscription. So It's like, okay, I joined the military for a specific purpose. If the military changes, if it's not what I want anymore, if I'm going to go a different direction, that's my choice. And I think that this is going to be a mistake if they keep trying to really push it and kind of, you know, hint towards you getting it and kind of making it almost be mandatory. That's going to be the wrong way to go. Like you said, this whole guinea pig thing, that's not going to be the wave, because it's volunteers. People are not required to be there. So I think it's going to go in the way that they thought that it might not. And they probably want to go reverse course if they keep doing it.
I don't mean to cut you off, but if I could play devil's advocate, right? So all the things that we receive nowadays, all the vaccinations, like so I've received like anthrax, typhoid, malaria, things like that, right? So all those vaccines for pandemics that were real and legit, I took those as a shot in the arm, truthfully, as a shot in the arm, not thinking twice when I first enlisted, because that was something that I had to do in order to join the military. These are certain things that I had to get done. In your personal opinion, if you can't answer, and I'm not trying to take up too much time because I imagine there's a lot of people calling, what do you think is the differentiating factor between the coronavirus vaccine and, say, like typhoid, malaria, dengue fever, smallpox, like things like that? Like, is it because now we're more informed as opposed to the public was in the past? Or, I mean, what do you think that is?
Well, because the other vaccines you mentioned have been around for a long time, so people tend to feel more comfortable. It's not a new thing that just came out recently, and I think that's the main thing is the newness of it. People don't want to get the first version of it, and then they come back 30 years later talking about, oh well, if you got this shot, you need to go call X, Y, and Z. That's probably what's going on.
Well, see, that's what happened with the anthrax vaccine, because that came out not too long ago.
Okay.
You know, it's like if you received the anthrax vaccine between 2006 2011, you may be entitled to financial compensation type deal stuff. But anyway, man, like I ain't got to take up the line too much longer. You're a freaking champion. I enjoy your content. Keep up doing what you're doing, and I will continue with this like, support, subscribe, all that stuff, and just pass it off to everybody. Just keep it up, boss. All right.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
All right, bye.
Great call. Good points made, for sure. For sure. Yeah, the Delta variant, they keep trying to fearmonger you over the Delta variant. But then I saw on TV today where a doctor was talking about, well, the vaccine protects you against the Delta variant, and it's fine. So it's like, well, what's the point in fearmongering then? It doesn't make any sense. It's kind of strange. All right, let's go to another one here. And the phone lines are jumping. Let's go 860. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, it's F&A Ranger. How you doing, buddy?
Everything's great. How about yourself?
Oh, doing all right. I mean, getting ready to take a little vacation down to Florida from Connecticut.
Right.
Going back. These people up here are crazy, ABL. I lived down in Florida for 26 years. I loved it down there. I mean, it's got its good points and bad points. But up here in the Northeast, they're racist as hell. They just hide it real well.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that. I've definitely heard that. When I was in New York, I was in the airport. It was weird. It was definitely weird. Down here in the South, it's much better. Everybody's more friendly. The rudeness and the kind of standoffish kind of that vibe I get a lot more in the Northeast for sure.
Oh, definitely. It's something else. I mean, there are a lot of really good black people up here, but my daughter was going to like a summer day camp years ago when she was 6 and her baby brother was 3, and they were playing on the slide, and my 3-year-old wanted to go down the slide, and there were 2 black boys there that were 6 years old because they were in the day camp with my daughter, I'm sorry. And my son wanted to go down the slide, and this boy just hauled off and punched my son in the nose like he was, Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali. I was like, hey! I was so mad. I was like, because my kid, he really is a good kid, but it's just they teach anger and hate so much, but it's all being done on purpose. Our country's being torn apart to make it communist. They're using transgenders to destroy the fiber of our morals, like that man that got into the hot tub with the 6-year-old girl naked with his junk all. You do that with my 12-year-old, somebody's going to get the law called on them, and it probably won't be you because you'll be needing an ambulance. But then they say I'm violent.
It's like, hey, I'm not violent. I'm just, just practicing common sense here. If you got a fully grown man with his stuff out in a tub with a little girl, I mean, that's call to action right now. I need to go ahead and just get you out of there.
Exactly. That's how I feel about it. I mean, I raised my kids not to hate anybody. I mean, they're not white. I mean, my wife's Filipino, and I'm going to tell you something. In 2019, October 8th, we were coming back from the Philippines. I'm 60 years old. We were in Beijing, China, transferring airplanes for the fourth year in a row, or third year, something like that. And they had 3 times the military security in October of 2019, October 8th, that they had passengers in that airport. We went through more searches. They searched every scrap of, they patted you down, they wand you, they took everything out of everything. You weren't keeping a SD card in a plastic case. They had to come out and go through the x-ray, everything. It took like an hour to go through with, 4 of us, my wife and 2 kids. And then they had one last checkpoint. It was like going through, it's one, I had 5 main parachute malfunctions when I used to jump out of airplanes in the Army, but this really scared me because of my kids. They had one final checkpoint just before you got on the 747 to JFK. They had a table set up in the jetway, and they were looking at specific Chinese civilians and I'll never forget it. This young lady, she had a clear carry-on bag where you could see her panties, everything in there. It was clear. But they took everything out of it. They were looking for information. They were looking for SD. I know what they were doing because I spent 4 years in the military.
Right.
I used to receive radio teletype messages for a 3-star general in charge of 3 countries worth of nuclear missiles. So I've read emails from Reagan, Jimmy Carter, and every leader in the known world for NATO and every command embassy you could think of. So when I read the newspaper, a lot of times I just have to laugh because these people are stupid. What do you think, brother?
And there's a lot there, but you pretty much said what needed to be said. I don't have too much to add on it, but I got a few more calls on the line, so thank you for the call.
Yep,
definitely appreciate it.
I know. Yep, you take care, ABL.
All right, now.
God bless.
God bless you. All righty. Mixed Girl POV, what's happening?
Hey, hi, ABL. How's it going?
Everything is great. About yourself?
Oh, I'm doing good. Thank you so much. Yeah, there's so much going on in the world today, right? There's never not enough to talk about. But so I'll just keep it very brief. 2 quick things. So last week, this time last week, it was news that the first African American billionaire, the BET founder, right, wants to do the reparations. He wants reparations for everyone. And not only that, he wants the taxpayers to pay for it, and he wants a piece of the pie. What are your thoughts about that? I think he's crazy. I think he's insane. And if he wants to, pay something, then he should pay out of his own billionaire bank account.
Well, first of all, I like Bob Johnson. Just as a person, I like him. But this here, I'm not really sure why he would say something like this. I don't really get it. What he said, like 14 trillion. I don't like where's that going to come from? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Nah, I'm not really a fan of it. Like I said before, if that was going to be paid reparations, it should have happened back at the end of slavery. If they were going to do anything, it's like, okay, here's some money to get on your feet, to go where you got to go. Okay, cool. Let's have that be that. But we're talking about 150 years later. It's like, nah, because, and the reality is a lot of people that are here now were not here during that time. A lot of immigrants and mixing and everything else. So it was like, who's going to get paid? Who would not get paid? Who would pay the money? Am I paying the money? Am I paying myself? So right, yeah. It's just weird.
Do you want to pay for reparations, ABL?
I do not.
And I'm sure most of the people in the chat, they don't want to pay reparations either. The reparation talk is so old and played out. They really just need to stop harping on it. We both feel the same way on that. Like the people who did the bad things, they're long gone. The people who were the victims of the bad things, they're long gone. It makes no sense to pay the descendants of the slaves. How are you going to figure that out? There's a lot of There's a lot of interracial people, myself included. What do? Do you say, okay, if you are a 1/4% African American or more, then you can claim? And do all the Caucasian people, are they the ones that have to pay for it because, it was their ancestors or what? I have ancestors on both sides. So what am I supposed to do? Like, I'm supposed to be like paying and receiving at the same time? Like, it really makes no sense whatsoever. And that guy, the BET founder, he's not broke. He's not broke as a joke. And if he wants to give money to the African American community, the Latino community, and whoever else in their mama, he is totally free to do just that. But he shouldn't be asking for taxpayers to pay for it. And he shouldn't be asking for a piece of the pie, because that just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. But okay, cool. Quick, last thought. I know you're about to roll off. Okay, so Cori Bush, what do you think about her crazy Maxine? They were all saying crazy stuff over the holiday weekend. Like, what are your thoughts? Do you think African Americans are still enslaved? Do you think that?
No, we're not. We're very free. We could do pretty much whatever we want. I mean, I see us on TV all the time, doing whatever, saying whatever. As a matter of fact, for her to get on TV and say something like that and nothing really happens, it's just like, oh, she's crazy. And to me, just have opinions about it, and that's it. That shows how free we are. This is a free country, one of the freest on earth. So, that right there, that's that lefty talk that appeals to that crowd. That's what that is.
Yeah, it's the talking points, right? It's to get them revved up, right? Revved up and pumped up so that they can go for their fresh round of attacking those on the right, because we're so racist, right? We're so racist, and we are oppressing each and every one of them. Yet this lady is making all kind of bank, being a public servant. Her, Crazy Maxine, AOC, the Squad, all of these anti-American Americans. It makes no sense, and we really need to, pray for these crazy folks, because they need some laying of the hands on them or something, because it's just absolutely insane. But anyways, all right, cool. Thanks, ABL, for taking my call. I appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate you.
All right, thanks. Bye.
All right, shout out to Mixed Girl POV. Find her right here on the YouTubes. And thank y'all again for watching. If you enjoy what you're hearing so far, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and do that as well. And thank you for listening. If you're listening on your favorite audio streaming platform, let's go 415 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Jacob.
All righty, what's happening?
I'm good. Yeah, I got a suggestion for you, like your channel.
All right, go for it.
So I was thinking, do you know what Discord is?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I was thinking like you can do like a Discord, like have a server and like have a stage, and like people can like go on the stage and like they can talk like what they're doing on the phone.
I have a Discord. I'm not sure what I need to find a link to it. But there is a Discord, and if one of you guys in the chat have it, if you can put it in the chat. But I do have a Discord, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
Okay. See.
All right. Oh no, he said get on stage, and I'm not really sure what I don't know if he was trying to troll or what, but yeah, I got a Discord. Maybe he didn't really expect me to answer like that. I don't know, but I know a lot, so it's just kind of weird. But we'll keep on moving. All right. Let's go to 909. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, hey, how you doing? My name's Elizabeth. Is this Anthony?
Yes, it is.
Oh, hey, I cannot believe I got through. Hey, regarding the whole reparations thing, I hate being on the radio, so I'm just gonna make this real short. I hear people saying that, if you're a Christian, you'll believe in reparations because it's social justice and yada, yada, yada. But, I am a Christian, and I look for, I look for all issues through a biblical perspective. And I was thinking, well, what would it say in the Bible? Is there a verse in the Bible about reparations? And actually in Ezekiel 18, it's the Israelites are complaining because they were taken into captivity. And verse 20 basically says the child will not share in the guilt of the parent, nor will the parent share in the guilt of the child. And he's talking about a whole generation. This isn't like, a dad and a son. This is talking about like the forefathers. So I just want to get your opinion on that, because I think, it clearly, the way I'm reading it, clearly, preaches against reparations. So I'd love your feedback, and I'm going to hang up here because I don't like talking, over the internet. So thanks a lot. Thanks for your perspective. Bye.
Thank you for the call. All right. Now, reparations, as far as, I don't understand how Christianity and social justice are linked, because social justice, a lot of that is not really part of religion. Because again, this is me. I'm not a Christian person. I'm not religious. That's just not me. I respect everybody that's religious, but that's just not what I get into. But I don't understand. Okay, we talking about Christianity, thou shalt not kill, right? So some people say that abortion is social justice. So how are we going to conflate that with Christianity? I don't understand how that makes any sense. Just because someone says that a thing is moral does not make it so, right? And paying some money, what does that got to do with morality? How is paying money morality unless someone is owed it directly? Unless it was a promise made to somebody. 40 acres in the mule. Who said that? I didn't say that. Didn't nobody alive say that? So it's just like this. All right. If my great-great-great-great-granddaddy said to your great-great-great-great-grandmama that I'm going to pay you $20 when you come by the house, and he never paid it, do I need to pay it to you? What's that got to do with me? I'm not the person that did that. That person is long gone. Get it from them. So I don't really get it. I don't understand. To me, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't really register in my mind. But that's just me, though. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm the one that's not really, maybe my moral compass has not been tweaked properly. Maybe I don't know where I'm going. I don't know. All right, let's go to some more here. All righty, let's go. 504, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, man, this is Chris from New Orleans.
All righty.
I just had a question more or less about the whole reparations thing. Why is it always the United States that owes reparations? Because there were countries involved in slavery for a longer period of time than the United States has even existed now.
Well, see,
we're a relatively young country. We only participated in slavery for less than 100 years.
Yeah, but see, the problem is that people just have their eyes on the prize. They're looking for a paycheck. So the entitlement culture that comes from America, they feel like they can just get it from there because where they always get everything else, stimulus checks and welfare. Okay, let's give one more check out. Reparations. I'm a victim. Pay me. That's where it comes from. So it's not requested from an intelligent place, in my humble opinion. Not the majority of the time. Sometimes it is, but most of the time it's not. Not from the average person.
Right? I mean, like Egypt engaged in slavery for a very long time, so why don't they start melting down some of them gold statues and handing out reparations with that?
But, that right there, that is a viewpoint that makes sense. But if people don't think like that, they don't think deeply. Like right. They don't think just beyond what they want right now, because that's not even the point. The point is they just want to get paid. They don't really care too much about history and things that make sense, like what you're saying.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of countries that have a lot of money that were involved in slavery. And like I said, they were involved in slavery longer than the United States has even existed.
Oh, sure.
That's what's crazy to me. Like that, why don't they go to the source? Go to the source of the problem. Like the concept of slavery way outdates the existence of the United States.
Right.
And another little point I wanted to make, this completely off of that subject, but these people that want to like defund the military in the United States, do they ever take into consideration how many countries the United States is responsible for being their military and what would happen to those countries?
Yeah, they don't think about that. They don't think about how we're Japan's military. And they talk about
Germany's military.
Germany. They talk about Norway. We're also their military. We also help them a lot. NATO. We're involved in NATO, protecting the entire Europe from Russia. So they don't talk about that. But again, these people don't think very deeply. They look at They don't even understand how it's going to affect them domestically, let alone internationally, how it would affect other countries, because they're not really smart people. They don't think very deeply. They look at things on a very surface level, and they also look at it in a way of just trying to be virtuous, trying to appear to be virtuous, but not actually effective or practical.
Yeah, people, they think with emotion instead of common sense. There's 67 nations that were solely responsible for their protection. 67.
Right.
That's crazy. Like, those countries would completely fall apart.
They most certainly would. You're right on point.
Anyway, those are my couple of little points I wanted to make. Keep on doing what you're doing, man.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's really weird. All right. So thank y'all again for joining. Did I get everything? All right. I got time for one more call. If one comes in, if it doesn't, I'm going to go ahead and just get to the next one. Let me see. I'm reading some of the chat here. All right. I think I'm going to go ahead and just wrap up the phone calls right there. If you couldn't get on, it's not my fault. You got to blame the white man for not being able to get on. And I closed it right as a phone call came in, but it's fine. It's all right. We got super chats on deck, and then I wrap it on up, put the bow on it. Shout out to you guys for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet. Go ahead and like the video right now since you're here and you've not done it. If you've not done it already, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and subscribe as well, and tell a friend about the channel. That'll help me out as well. These are Old Navy polo shirts, Old Navy. I try to get them on sale. I'm super cheap. I try to get them for like $5, $10. That's the reason why I started wearing these polos, is because when I was really, really broke at one point in my life, I was still trying to look halfway presentable. You know, it was to the point where I was wearing like shirts that had holes in them, white tees and stuff. So I was like, how can I look more presentable? Okay, go get a polo shirt from Old Navy. I saw a sale. It was like 3 for $10 or something crazy. Let me go ahead and do that. So I just started doing that, and it's just, I've been doing the same thing ever since. I'm not really trying to be super fashionable. I'm not trying to be GQ. When I put on the suit, though, watch out. But when I'm just dressing normally, I'm not really caring about name brand, all that kind of stuff. I don't really care at all. You know, me as a person and just my personality, my confidence, that's gonna shine through whatever I got. But I like to make statements with my clothes. Where I got my hats, you know, the 1776, the USA. I like to make statements with my clothes when I do. I could wear a patriotic T-shirt, or I got a flag on my truck, or you got the flags. I like to make statements. I'm not really trying to be fashionable. I ain't trying to be a pretty boy or nothing like that. But if I need to wear a suit, I'll wear a suit, and I enjoy that. Oh, and speaking about fashion and stuff like that and making a statement, go to ablmerch.com, ablmerch.com. Get your hats, T-shirts, stickers, hoodies, mugs, and more. The fashionable hats, the statement hats, all that good stuff. If you want the flags, if you want soaps, all the links to all my stuff I got are in the description box below the video. All right. Leon Hernandez Baez says, have I seen the new Facebook commercial talking about internet regulations? I've not seen that. But they're probably trying to lobby against Section 230 being repealed because that'll impact them in a very negative way. Maybe even kill the whole platform in the U.S. So that's just, you know, lobbyists doing what they do. That's all. Ain't nothing else to it. All right. And let me see. What else we got going on? Oh, and I was offended when what's that girl's name? What's her name? The person now known as Elliot Page, that used to be Ellen Page. I was offended when they came out as trans, right? And then one of their first pictures was them wearing a polo shirt and a hat. It's like, really? You're going to take my style for your dude look? I'm totally offended. I am totally offended. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find it. Here it is. Matter of fact, yeah. I saw this. I was like, wait a minute. Hold on. I was like, wait just one gosh darn minute. This is plagiarism right here. Okay, I got to get my lawyer on the horn and be like, all right, Elliot, I'm not, you can't be, you know, at least have the one button undone, all right? You know, you're trying to be twins. I could have had on the gray polo and the black. See, I got the black hat and the gray. I don't own this kind of sweater device right here. I don't own anything like that. So they can get away with that. But the polo shirt and the hat look to appear more dudeish. I'm offended. All right. I'm going to say that right there. You know, but I digress. All right. So we got super chats. And then I'm going to get up up out of here. So let me see. Where was I at? Take it to FA Ranger Xbox, who says, don't renew teachers union contract. Unions are not cost effective. Ian Kinney says, definitely check out the Judge Joe Brown interview. And yes, with World Star Hip Hop, 2 hours, but the Biden Harris part is great. I'll check it out. Thank you for that. Yeah, it's ABL cosplay. I was not feeling that too tough, not at all. I did not like that. I felt offended. Take it to the most awesomest Chris. I'm reading that properly. Who says Stacey Adams' beef was they removed 10,000 mostly blacks from the roles that should have not been removed because of exact match laws in Georgia. Well, whatever the beef was, she said that the election was stolen. So it doesn't really matter what the beef was. You know, there's all kind of ways that things can happen. There's all kind of things that can happen in an election that can prompt someone to say that it was stolen. But any kind of objection when it comes to Trump was just ruled out. It's been debunked. It's baseless. He's a sore loser, all this, that, and the third. Right? That's what it was. The Fulton County, the Arizona, all of that. Nope. We don't want to do that. The same state now that had problems with Stacey Abrams, when Trump alleges that something happened in the same state, then it's just thrown out. Oh, okay. It's fine when EBL is funny, hilarious. I see you, Nay. EBL is funny. Let me see. But that's what I'm saying. It's rules for thee, but not for me. Butt versus Windshield says, food for thought. Name something the Klan did that BLM has not done. But BLM has taken over city blocks. Even the hated Klan couldn't do that. Also, fun fact, there are more trees in the USA right now than when Columbus landed. Let that soak in. The left has no clue about reality. Facts. Big facts. Thanks to Mr. Grimm, who says, isn't traveling house to house to reduce the spread of... Isn't traveling house to house to reduce the spread a self-defeating purpose? Especially if there are new variants that negate the current vaccine. Exactly. You should be staying away from me. Don't come to my crib. You may unknowingly be passing it to me. Your test may be faulty. Your vaccine, you could still catch it potentially. So what's going on? Thank you to Stella Ella Ola, who says, is there a link for you to virtually come in or is it just phone? I guess I was talking about getting on Skype. But yes, the next time there's an email for the Skype link. That's in the description box below. And you can also call for the number that's right on the screen right now. But the call lines are off, so we'll do that next time. Next show, which should be Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, I will be live tomorrow on my friend Officer Tatum's channel. I think that would be 9:30 or 10:30 p.m. Whenever he schedules it, whenever I get the graphic to promote it on the Instagrams and whatnot, you guys will see it. Thank you to Patriot17 for being a 2-month ABL supporter. I appreciate you. Thank you to Angel for your big-time donation. Thank you to Boomhauer, who says, my wife had a medical procedure done today and is very sore. I have her propped up watching ABL live right now, and she's loving it. Can you please give her a shout-out and wish her well? Her name's Annie. Well, Annie, hopefully you're seeing this. Hopefully everything's all right. Hopefully you get well soon, and I'm glad you're watching the show. Thank you for being here, and shout-out to your husband. Great dude. All righty. Thank you to Brother Moses for the donation, who says, ABL, I'm black, but who has a foot to tap for 26 million poor white people? That's almost 3 times the number of Americans. I mean, what you mean foot to tab? What does that mean? I mean, are you saying that they are on welfare? If they are, then, I mean, I don't really understand. I don't understand the question. I think that the welfare state should be eliminated. I don't care who's affected, black, white, Puerto Rican, candy stripe. It doesn't really matter to me, because the welfare state affects everyone negatively. Like I was saying in my talk when I was in Athens, Tennessee, and the year 1960, you had a 80% 2-parent married household rate in the black community. So before a baby was born, 80% of black folks that had a baby were married. 80%. At the same time, 95% of whites were married before a baby came. Whether it was a planned marriage, a shotgun marriage, get married to her right now, boy. Regardless of what it is, 95% married before a baby. And in the report that Dame Patrick Moynihan wrote, who was a Democrat, a liberal Democrat, white liberal Democrat back then, he said that the 80% two-parent household rate in the black community was a problem. It was emergency level. It was way too low. 80% was way too low. We need to be up to close to 95, 100%. Now, the white single-parent household rate is 25%. So that means their two-parent married household rate is 75%, which is 5% lower than the problem rate it was for blacks back in 1960. And fast forward to today, the single-parent household rate is 75% for blacks versus back then it was 20%. You see what I'm saying? So 80% two-parent married for black in 1960, 95% two-parent married white in 1960, but now 75% two-parent married white and 25% two-parent married black. The welfare state has affected all of us in a negative way. Some more than others, but still all of us. So the welfare state would get things back on track, in my humble opinion. But thank you for that, man. I appreciate you. That was a good remark to get so I can get that point out. Thank you to Daniel Orr, who says, "Nice job the way you handled Hunter earlier." Hey, thank you for that, man. It's all good. Shout out to Arafael. I know I tore her name up, and I'm sorry, not my fault, blaming the white man. Arafael Einsof, who says, "Most of the aggressive gays I've met were R-word as kids by women and men alike." Correct. Yeah, that's typical. There's always some kind of story. You know, like I see some of these celebrities coming out and talk about how they were touched as kids and that led them in a different direction. They were confused. That's uncommon. That's unfortunately very common. Not uncommon, but unfortunately very common. Thank you to F.A. Ranger Xbox, who says the commandment is misquoted. It is really, "Thou shalt not commit murder." 2 of the 12 carry swords. Thank you to Mitch Girl POV, who says, "Thank you for all that you do. Blessings to you and your lovely wife." Thank you for that. Appreciate you. Thank you to Brother Moses, who says, "I am black." Already read that. No, I didn't. He says, "I am black. Some people are wrong about who receives the most welfare. Take a poll one day for a simple question." So I guess what you're trying to say is whites receive the most welfare, but that's because they are the largest population percentage. So yes, by the numbers, whites receive the most welfare. However, when you're talking about per capita as far as each race, blacks receive the most per person. I think it's like 1 out of every 10 among whites that receive welfare. Nah, pardon me. Actually, it's 1 out of every 10 whites that are in poverty, if I'm not mistaken. But 1 out of every 4 blacks are in that situation. You see what I'm saying? So 25% of blacks are on some kind of welfare, but then the same way for whites. So you got to put it in context. Blacks are about 13% of the population. Whites are about 65% of the population. So they should be more just based on things being equal. But I think whites are about 38% of the welfare. Blacks are about the same percentage. That shouldn't be that way if blacks are 13% of the population and whites are 65% of the population. It should be unequal, but it's equal. That's a problem. You see what I'm saying? But I digress. Whites are lower when you're talking about their percentage of welfare recipients as their population. 38% welfare, 65% population. Blacks are much higher. 13% of the population, 38% welfare recipients. You see how that works? It's just math. Maybe I'm not Albert Einstein, but it is what it is. Thank you, Sherry, for your donation. And thank you to Buck versus Winfield, who says, what I want, what I really, really want, I want a president that can count backwards from 20. All right, with the Spice Girls remix. Thank you to Laura Catherine, who says, Just bought me a new baseball cap and Sir Merg on ABLmerch.com. Thank you for that. Appreciate you. And thank you to Lioness Four Paws for becoming a new member of the ABL squad. I thank you for that. I appreciate you. And thank you to Darth Vaden. Shout out to your daughter, Violet. Hey, Violet. Hopefully you're enjoying the show. Shout out to your dad, your mother, your father. Shout out to that individual raising you for doing a good job. All right. But that'll be a wrap. Thank y'all for being here. Appreciate you guys for joining. I'll be back again, of course, Saturday with a live show. Back tomorrow with pre-recorded videos. And I'll be live on Brandon Tatum's channel tomorrow. Tomorrow night, I will be there. And thank you to all the mods for doing what you do, keeping them trolls in check. Couldn't do it without you. And I think that'll be it. So until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out. And peace.